What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 10 Mick. Chapter 236. Saitama suddenly got scared. Even Sasuke, who has always been extremely arrogant, looked shocked when he saw the projected image on the sky. Although I don't want to admit that there are people who are more awesome than myself, but the facts are in front of me, I have to admit that Yiyu's fighting ability is very strong. A strong man from another world can be so terrifying. Sasuke held the katana in his hand tightly and murmured. Each of the 5 shadows looked at the scene in the sky with serious expressions. Anyone in the picture can destroy them and the entire Hokage world. Only now did they realize that Uchiha Madara, whom they had gathered all their strength before and could not defeat, was nothing compared to the 2 peerless strong men in this scene. So what if these ridiculous ninja alliances faced Yiyu and the bald-caped man? The result is obvious, the result will definitely be an instant kill. While everyone is thinking, the most direct collision between Saitama and Yohane's Conqueror's energy balls has begun. I saw a dazzling light flashing above the entire duel field, as if a nuclear bomb exploded. Immediately afterwards, there was the deafening sound of explosion. Rumble, 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 the continuous explosions are deafening. This terrifying explosion was directly transmitted to all the worlds watching the battle. One by one, people covered their ears with their hands. The animals in the pirate world also heard the terrifying explosions in the sky, and they ran around one by one. They screamed and roared, as if they had seen the end of the world. Long, the revolutionary leader of the Holy Land Marijoa, heard this terrible sound and hurriedly covered his ears with his hands. Are you kidding? What the hell is going on? Revolutionary Long said in disbelief. It's really hard to believe that the sound of the collision between the 2 people almost shattered my eardrums. The other people, the commander of the 4th Army, Sabo, the Demon King and others also covered their ears one by one, showing expressions of pain. Even the heavenly dragons in the Holy Land of Marijoa were wailing in pain. These people were used to being pampered, how had they ever seen such a big scene? One by one, they covered their ears and rolled in pain on the ground. My ears are going deaf, my ears are going deaf. One of them said loudly and miserably. In fact, what these people said was a bit exaggerated. Although the collision between the 2 was very powerful and terrifying, it had not yet reached the point where it could shatter the eardrums of people in this world. These days the Draco people are so pampered, so I don't know if their ears have been super damaged by becoming deaf. However, it is possible to make them suffer for several days. Kid located in the red-haired pirates area. He even grinned, showing a ferocious expression. The entire face was filled with an incredibly shocking color. Damn, are you kidding me? Is the sound of the collision so terrifying? Such a terrifying sound in the dual field means that this collision must be very terrifying. Even on a planet as vast as our pirate world, this terrifying impact is enough to destroy our entire planet. Kid gritted his teeth and said in disbelief. As for the other people, Apu, Hawkins and others frowned and covered their ears tightly. From their expressions, you can see the deep shock. Among the red-haired pirates, Jesus Boo's eyes widened, but he covered his ears with his hands and spoke loudly to the red-haired Shanks. There was no way, the collision between Yiyu and Saitama was really too loud, he had to raise his voice, only in this way could the red hair hear his voice. Boss, this can't be a joke. A collision of this scale cannot smash the entire planet to pieces. Jesus said loudly with a look of shock on his face. Beckman had the same strange expression. Yiyu, and that guy named Saitama, the bald-cloaked man. How powerful are they? They can be so terrifying. Beckman extinguished the cigarette in his mouth with a look of disbelief. Said. It was red-haired Shanks, the man who owned the world's top conquerors, and as the emperor of this sea, his fingers began to tremble without obeying his orders. There is no doubt that a collision of this scale will definitely destroy the entire planet. As for, how powerful are they? Beckman, are you kidding me? If I knew, would I still be a mere 4 emperors? Red-haired Shanks shook his head in distress. Just 4 emperors, that's right. Although the title 4 emperors was previously a symbol of terror in the pirate world. However, since Yiyu appeared, the title of 4 emperors has no convincing meaning. In front of Yiyu, what difference does it make if they are 4 emperors or not? Wasn't it possible to defeat Yiyu in front of him with just a slight attack? Is there a difference? Even the Straw Hats who were in Dressrosa at this time noticed this terrifying blow. Straw Hat Luffy covered his ears tightly with his rubber arms, gritted his teeth, and exposed his big white fang. This is too scary, Nami, Zoro. It's hard to believe, it's hard to believe. If such a terrifying person exists, my dream of becoming One Piece will never come true in my lifetime, Zoro. Luffy almost roared. The power of being able to destroy a planet with just one attack is still too incredible for Straw Hat Luffy. With his current level, he cannot reach this level even if he works hard for 1,000 years. Zoro frowned after hearing what Straw Hat Luffy said. One Piece. I have long since given up my title as the world's greatest swordsman, but my idiot captain is still thinking about One Piece. Isn't this a foolish dream? When there is a strong person like Yiyu, don't have a dream like One Piece. It's better to face reality when you leave. Zoro, who saw Yiyu's powerful swordsmanship with his own eyes, saw this reality clearly before his own captain. Captain, although this is an unpleasant thing to say, but. Zoro clenched his fists. For a strong man like Yiyu, I advise you not to think about defeating him. Zoro said with a frown. Wow, Zoro, how could you say that to me, Zoro? Luffy yelled. However, this time, no one blamed Zoro. After all, anyone who wants to surpass Yiyu's level must have something wrong with his brain. There is no doubt about this. On the duel field, after the dazzling light flashed, Yiyu and Saitama reappeared. The horrific explosion has already caused the entire planet to be in ruins. Due to this explosion, the previous mountain peaks all disappeared, leaving only a bare piece of land. But the huge crater that was up to 10,000 meters deep was directly filled in due to the explosion. The previously extremely turbulent sea was directly blocked by huge rocks this time, blocking the flow of the sea and directly blocking it. The sea will dry up from now on. It feels like a vast expanse of land. The terrifying explosive power brought irreparable damage to this arena. However, at this time, the pendulum of time and space was still dimly shining, and it felt like it was teetering. There is no strange light released at all to protect the entire planet. On the screen, Saitama was seen flying in the air alone, looking solemnly at Yiyu above his head. At this time, Saitama had a crazy look on his face. Ha 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 ha, Yiyu, I can handle it, I can handle it. I haven't felt this happy for a long time. Saitama shouted loudly to Yiyu in the air. This made people in the pirate world suddenly become nervous. Even Kaido and Big Mom became nervous. There is no way, the conquerors that Yiyu showed before, even when dealing with 5 elders and Yiyu's release of such a move can already be called ultimate move. Well, now, after releasing those 5 terrifying conquerors fusion balls, Saitama hasn't been defeated yet. This shows that Saitama is very powerful. However, Yiyu's combat power has almost been displayed, which has to make people in the pirate world feel a sense of danger in their hearts. Whitebeard, Marco, Josie and others all looked solemn. This little bald head is really scary, and he survived it. Heavenly Yaksha Doflamingo's sunglasses flashed with a white light, and he murmured to the sky. No matter what, I still believe that Yiyu will win the final victory. Mihawk's sharp eyes like an eagle stared at the sky and said seriously. Empress Hancock also looked anxious. That's right, no matter what the outcome is, I will always stand by Yiyu's side. In the world of One Punch Man, Bang Ji-yu clapped his palms vigorously, looked at Saitama in the sky, and praised him excitedly. That's great, this guy with the bald cape, I didn't expect him to be so scary. I survived, the bald devil actually survived such a terrifying blow. Bang Gu's cheeks were red and he looked excited. It can be seen that because Saitama showed inhuman strength, Bang Gu's title for Saitama changed. From the previous bald-caped man, he was directly promoted to the current bald devil. The Atomic Warrior also showed an excited expression. He had no hope of victory against this bald devil before. After all, this bald man looked like a weakling. But now, Atomic Samurai's image of the bald-caped man has also changed greatly. I think he will be called the Bald Man in the Caped Man, One Punch Man from now on, haha. Tatsumaki, the strength shown by One Punch Man has surpassed you. Atomic Samurai said with a smile to Tatsumaki beside him. After hearing what the Atomic Samurai said, Tatsumaki was furious, but rarely had no rebuttal. There was nothing I could do, the feeling Yiyu brought to me was too terrifying. It directly killed his own tornado instantly. And the fact that the Bald Man in the Cape is able to fight until now is enough to show that the strength of the Bald Man in the Cape is also unfathomable. Genos clenched his fists even more tightly and looked at the screen with a solemn expression. Teacher Saitama, just work together and defeat Yiyu. You are the closest thing to Yiyu in our One Punch Man world. Even the Sage of Six Paths in the Hokage world showed an extremely shocked look. Before, I fought against the devil Yiyu. Yiyu just used one of the suns and he was defeated. And this bald man actually faced Yiyu's 5 conquerors fusion abilities at the same time. Still standing till now, keep fighting. Tell me, will the final winner be the bald man? I think that bald man should be the god in the world of One Punch Man. Uzumaki Naruto opened his mouth wide. That bald head is really awesome. Maybe, this bald head can really defeat Yiyu in the end. Look at that bald head getting stronger all the time. Sasuke also had a serious look on his face, staring blankly at the One Punch Man Saitama who was in tatters but still clenching his fists tightly. I really didn't expect that that person could achieve such terrifying combat power without using ninjutsu, just through physical skills. That guy, like Yiyu, is not a human being. Sasuke rarely showed a shocked look. On the contrary, Uchiha Madara, who had fought with Yiyu before, had an indescribable taste flashing in his eyes and remained silent for a long time. On the battlefield, facing the laughing Saitama, Yiyu did not speak, but rarely crossed his hands on his chest again. That's right, Saitama, you did the right thing. It's time for you people to see the new me. A smile appeared at the corner of Yiyu's mouth. After hearing Yiyu's words, Shiyu's expression suddenly changed and he looked around cautiously. Then, the smile on his face suddenly stopped, and his fingers began to tremble involuntarily. Yiyu, who was in the sky, continued to speak. For some reason, that guy from the time and space pendulum didn't continue to enhance the size and defense of this planet. After all, my move can really destroy the entire planet. Yiyu said lazily. Saitama's face changed drastically, and he immediately hugged his bald head with both hands, assuming a defensive posture. The people watching the battle in all dimensions suddenly lost their composure. Wasn't Saitama still laughing wildly just now, as if he was sure of victory? Why is he starting to get timid now? Moreover, it is a bit too exaggerated to be so cowardly. Bang Ji was a little unbelievable. He had just said that Saitama, the bald devil, could win the final victory. Immediately afterwards, Saitama in the picture hugged his head. Wasn't this slap in the face too fast? The trembling Tatsumaki also showed a very confused expression. I really can't figure it out. This guy, the bald-caped man, has already reached this level, why is he still holding his head? If he were the bald-cloaked man, he would definitely take advantage of this moment to attack Yu who was high in the sky with all his strength. The trembling Tatsumaki really couldn't figure out why Saitama chose to defend at such a critical moment. At such a critical moment, choosing to defend, doesn't it also mean that Yu is prepared to give him time to make the same attack again? Facing 5 terrifying Conqueror's energy groups again, Saitama, are you sure you can still resist? You can read more daily new novels on fictionzone.net. Both sites shared the same login details so you don't need to sign up again. Chapter 237 Mutation, will the pendulum of time and space be scrapped? The Child Emperor and the Metal Knight were also very confused. They took out the most advanced machine in the world and began to zoom in on the screen, trying to find something important from it. Emperor Tong waited until there was a very inconspicuous picture and magnified it 10,000 times before discovering some clues. Even the Metal Knight didn't notice anything unusual, but the Child Emperor discovered it. The Metal Knight came to the Child Emperor and asked the Child Emperor's result very curiously. In the One Punch Man world, other people also came to the Child Emperor one after another. They all wanted to find out and see what the Tong Emperor had discovered. Look, a trace of sweat appeared on the Tong Emperor's forehead as he nervously explained to everyone. This stone, its color, creates a chemical reaction. And this chemical reaction requires extreme heat. Although only a very small part has produced a chemical reaction, it can be concluded that there are still more terrifying forces lurking around the bald man in the cape. Emperor Tong pointed to the picture he took, which was magnified 10,000 times. I just found a clue and explained it to everyone. When the Metal Knight heard the Tong Emperor's explanation, he was immediately shocked. If it is true as the Child Emperor said, these hidden powers will probably be even more terrifying than the powers of the 5 energy groups before. The Metal Knight said loudly. The people around them all froze in place after hearing what the Metal Knight said. It's even more terrifying than the 5 huge energy groups before. What this sentence means, all the heroes present know better than anyone else. The 5 huge energy groups just now can already destroy the world. If they hadn't collided with Saitama's fist in the air, they would have smashed the artificial planet into rubbish. Now Metal Knight actually said that it was even more terrifying than the previous move. Yes, this move is terrifying because of its pervasiveness. This is a picture that I have enlarged 100 times. It is difficult for ordinary eyes to find their hiding spots. So, this is why the bald-caped man chose a completely defensive posture. In this case, this attitude is the only best and perfect response plan. Emperor Tong continued to explain to everyone. A pervasive attack, and the eyes can't detect it. Everyone in the world of One Punch Man has their eyes painted white. Originally, I thought that Saitama had broken through the last limiter and withstood Yu's terrifying blow, and that there would be hope of victory in the end. However, I never thought that the reality would be so cruel. People in the entire One Punch Man world were silent for a long time, and the entire Heroes Association fell into a terrifying silence. When people in the Hokage world saw this scene, they all showed shocked expressions. What they originally thought was the same as the people in the One Punch Man world. Saitama has already reached this point. Instead of moving forward bravely, you choose this method. It is really difficult for people in the Hokage world to understand. Sage of 6 Paths directly opened his 6 Paths Samsara eye and then showed a shocked look. He was the first person in the Hokage world to discover the clues. Saitama's current approach is absolutely the right choice. Later, Uchiha Madara, Uchiha Sasuke and others also discovered the clues. Uchiha Madara's heart is still on Yu's side. I've told you before, there's no way that bald guy can defeat Yu. Yu is a terrifying being that can defeat even me, Uchiha Madara. How could I be defeated by a mere bald head? Uchiha Madara, the king of pretense, did not forget to put some gold on his face at this time and also praised himself. The other Baiwang, Sasuke, rarely showed a solemn expression. This attack method is very similar to that guy. Uchiha Sasuke frowned and said. That guy, you mean? Uzumaki Naruto asked curiously. Sasuke straightened his expression and spoke slowly. That rebellious ninja named Deidara, his ninjutsu Garuda. Sasuke said fiercely. If I hadn't suddenly thought out of my wits and summoned a big snake to defend myself, I would have really died. Onoki on the side heard this and understood it instantly. That is to say, that guy Yu has integrated his conquerors into the air of the entire world, making it pervasive. That guy Saitama is going to suffer. Onoki said with great conviction. This sentence also successfully awakened the people who were still confused. Pervasive. If that kind of terrifying explosive power were fused in the air or even on a person's body, even the strongest person would be blown to pieces. There is no way to deal with this kind of attack. Facing him, you can only choose the best defensive posture like Saitama. People in the pirate world were puzzled when they saw Saitama's current posture. What's going on with this bald man? Why is he so scared now? Whitebeard said in confusion. The golden lion on the side was also very puzzled, and everyone stared in confusion. Even Kaido and Big Mom looked confused. They had fought against Yi Yu before, and had seen the battle between Yi Yu, 5 elders and IM, but they had never seen it before. The enemy fighting Yi Yu suddenly assumed such a posture. At this time, Kaido and Big Mom were also confused. In the holy land of Mariajoya, the S********** King was also the first to notice that something was wrong. Mr. Long, what kind of situation does this belong to? The Demon King asked the revolutionary Long Kaikai in confusion. Revolutionary Long looked at Saitama's movements and narrowed his eyes. Could it be that guy Yi Yu has hidden some other terrifying moves? Sabo also looked solemn. But what kind of moves can make this bald man perform so shockingly? You must know that this bald head has never shown such a posture before, even when facing Yi Yu and the overwhelming Conqueror's giant ball. Sabo was also very puzzled. The red-haired Shanks narrowed his eyes and stared at the scene in the sky without stopping for a moment. On the other hand, Hawkins, who was in the red-haired pirate group area, had a slightly calm expression on his face at this time. At this time, Hawkins was holding his own fortune-telling card and began to perform the final divination on this battle. Hey, you guy, Hawkins, what's the result of the divination? Don't keep silent. Kid on the side walked over carelessly, and it was obvious that he was very concerned about the results of Hawkins' divination. Hawkins was still holding the cards in his hand and performing divination one after another. Finally, the cards in his hand finally stopped. This battle is over, Hawkins said with great certainty. These words attracted Apu and Kira who were watching the battle. Is this battle going to end? Who is the final winner? People around asked curiously. You must know that Yi Yu participated in the battle on behalf of their pirate world, which was directly related to their future destiny, so he was naturally very curious about this battle. This battle shows that Yi Yu's winning probability is 100. Buzz. As soon as these words came out, the people around were shocked again. They all knew that Hawkins' prediction of the battle was based on the strength level of the two people. No matter how strong one person is and how weak the other person is, the probability of winning is only 99 points. This is really the first time they have heard of the 100% probability of winning. 100%. Oh my god, Hawkins, are you kidding me? The audio player Apu asked in disbelief. After all, in the battle just now, Yi Yu and the One Punch Man gave people the feeling that their strength was not much different, they were both on the same level. But the probability of winning is 100, which means that Yi Yu has absolutely overwhelming power against Saitama. This power is like a 4 emperors, facing an overwhelming advantage of less than 100 million pirates. Only when the gap reaches this point will it be shown that the probability of winning can reach 100. But, in the battle just now, it seems that the bald man is not much weaker than Yi Yu. Kid said in shock. If it is true as Hawkins said, it is really terrifying how far Yi Yu's strength will reach. You know, Saitama's strength is enough to destroy a planet, but Yi Yu can actually do it, and still has an overwhelming advantage against this kind of character. From this, it can be seen that Yi Yu's strength is bottomless and will never be. They little guys can figure it out. There was an indescribable look in Hawkins' eyes, and his lips slowly trembled. According to my divination, Yi Yu is far more powerful than One Punch Man, and what's even more terrifying is that this attack on Yi Yu will kill him instantly. Hawkins said with a serious expression. Gulu. The people around him swallowed their saliva crazily. The strength shown by One Punch Man Saitama was not weaker than a Mu, but now Yi Yu was able to kill One Punch Man Saitama in an instant. This also means that Yi Yu is countless times stronger than when he fought IM. This terrifying growth rate has completely left Kid and the others speechless. Is this still a human being? Monsters don't have such a terrifying growth rate. On the battlefield, Yi Yu snapped his fingers directly at One Punch Man Saitama. The next moment, the overwhelming conquerors were no longer hidden, but appeared directly around Saitama. Saitama felt all kinds of weird abilities all over his body, including magma, lightning, and freezing power. All kinds of weird energies were directly merged together at this moment. There is also the purest conquerors, this kind of terrifying conquerors that keeps squeezing Saitama's body, making Saitama taste what is called real fear for the first time in his life. It was a feeling of terror coming from the deepest part of the soul. Saitama had never experienced this feeling before, even when facing the most powerful enemy. This feeling brings endless pain to Saitama. Boom. 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 Finally, due to the fusion of various strange energies, the power of chaos directly exploded on this planet, and it was like nuclear bombs being detonated directly in an instant. The entire starry sky was in a state of being exterminated, and only then did Saitama realize that a huge word, death, appeared above his head. Dying. Saitama finally realized the oppression he had brought to others before. Genos once said that when he was fighting against him, when he got serious and punched Genos, a huge word, death, would appear above Genos' head. Now, Saitama believes it. I didn't expect that I had broken all the limiters and became a being beyond the gods, but I was still so vulnerable in front of Yi Yu. Is this all coming to an end? Saitama began to recall all the previous events. At this time, the pendulum of time and space finally played its role, gathering a large amount of light in his body, and began to release it towards this artificial planet. In an instant, the explosive energy generated by Yi Yu's conquerors was all shrouded in light and dissipated. And the previous planet has expanded dozens of times again. It became a huge planet comparable in size to the sun. Only a planet of this size can withstand a battle of this level between Yi Yu and Saitama. Now, I declare, announce, winner. Winning. The sound of the time and space pendulum suddenly seemed very noisy, and the light on the body also loomed. There is a feeling of running out of oil. Yi Yu narrowed his eyes and looked at the pendulum of time and space. Could it be that the space-time pendulum has insufficient energy? Yi Yu murmured, holding his arms. However, looking at the entire artificial planet, it seems reasonable to be able to create such a huge planet with insufficient energy. The abnormality of the time and space pendulum caused people in the pirate world, Hokage world, and One Punch Man world to look in shock. What's going on? That pendulum of time and space is going to fall, Uchiha Madara said in confusion. At the beginning, I had retaliated against the time and space pendulum and wanted to destroy his idea. As a result, I was directly educated by the time and space pendulum. Only then did I agree to the time and space pendulum's request and participate in the dual field. I didn't expect that the pendulum of time and space would fall now. Could it be that Yi Yu's battle was too powerful and the pendulum of time and space could no longer keep up? Uchiha Madara thought inwardly. Kakashi narrowed his eyes, really confused. As the master of this duel, the pendulum of time and space would be destroyed in advance. Chapter 238 I am back again. People in the pirate world are also pointing at the time and space pendulum in the sky, but they all have a popular idea at the moment, that is, the time and space pendulum has almost used up its energy to create a more durable planet. Whitebeard looked serious. If this encounters a more terrifying battle, I'm afraid this thing will really be scrapped. Let me tell you, this thing should be scrapped, but suddenly so many intruders came. Fortunately, we have Yi Yu to protect us. Otherwise, our pirate world would really not be enough. Malco murmured. But Hawkins, who was in the area of the red-haired Shanks pirates, picked up the fortune-telling card in his hand and continued to divine. The hot-tempered kid kept yelling in front of Hawkins. Hey, Hawkins, you guy, can you hurry up and divine what's going on? At this time, sweat was already breaking out on Hawkins' forehead, and he had a vague premonition that something bigger was about to happen. Finally, under the urging of the people around him, Hawkins finally put down the last fortune-telling card. Then Hawkins's expression changed drastically, his eyes widened and his lips kept trembling. It's going to cause a big incident, Hawkins said with a ferocious expression. Big incident, what's going on? Apu and Kira asked hurriedly. This Hawkins only spoke half of his words, but he made them angry to death. Hawkins continued to swallow the saliva in his mouth, and then spoke to the people around him with dull eyes. According to my divination, a powerful guy is coming to take over our pirate world. All human destiny is guided by the duel with this person. How strong is that person? Kid looked at Hawkins who was not calm and asked in confusion. No matter how strong they are, what can they do? Their pirate world has a powerful existence like Yi Yu, and how can an intruder scare Hawkins into this state? How strong is he? Hawkins said to himself. I don't know this, but this is also the scariest part. The reason I don't know is because even my cards can't be used for divination. His combat power has surpassed my divination, Hawkins said with a helpless smile. As soon as these words came out, the people around him were completely dumbfounded. You must know that even Yi Yu, Hawkins was able to divine his combat power before. Unexpectedly, one day, Hawkins would be unable to divine a person's fighting ability. Is this person a more terrifying existence than Yi Yu? People in the world of One Punch Man also looked at each other in shock. They never thought that there would be a problem with the pendulum of time and space. It actually feels like it's crumbling. At this time, the judgment of the time-space pendulum has not yet ended, and a huge space-time gap suddenly appeared in the entire sky. A familiar voice came over. People in the pirate world looked at each other. This voice was somewhat familiar. White-bearded Edward Newgate, Golden Lion Shiki, Marco and others all showed solemn expressions. Why does this voice sound so familiar? Whitebeard asked curiously. It's a bit familiar, but I can't figure it out no matter how hard I try. Golden Lion Shiki also touched his forehead and replied. In fact, not only the Golden Lion Shiki, but also Josie, Ace, Beasta, Heavenly Yaksha Doflamingo, Empress Hancock, Hawkeye Mahawk and others on the side also felt familiar, but for a moment they thought. Not coming out. Who is it? Each of them thought for a moment. In the pirate world, those Marines all looked extremely embarrassed. This voice. The 5 elders who survived by chance knew it all too well. Let me see. Could it be that person? This made Warring States, who was very suspicious of that person, instantly reflect a white light on the lenses of his glasses. After Garp heard Sengoku's words, his eyes gradually became serious. The person you are talking about, do you mean I am? Garp clenched his fists and said. Before, everyone present was an audience for the battle between Yi Yu and Yi Mu. They, the people from Marine, saw it really clearly. In the end, the demon Yi Mu did not die, but died from the gap in time and space. Escaped and got out. Sengoku's lips trembled. The gap in time and space, the pendulum of time and space. I am, the person who escaped from the gap in time and space, may actually reappear due to the malfunction of the pendulum of time and space. That devil, Warring States exclaimed and roared. I am, who he had served for so many years, turned out to be a demon king, which made Warring States very angry. As soon as these words were spoken, the Marines in the pirate world showed expressions of fear one by one. Yes, although Yim's strength cannot resist Saitama or even Sage of Six Paths level opponents. But, after all, Yimu really exists in this world and really wants to kill their lives, so their fear of Yimu is greater than that of the strong men from other worlds on the dual field. The fear is even more terrifying. When people in the Hokage world heard Yim and saw the reactions of people in the pirate world, they all looked at each other. Could it be that there are any humans as powerful as Yu in the pirate world? Ah, the sound got closer and closer, and a person fell directly from the gap in time and space onto the planet where Yu and Saitama were fighting. In an instant, a huge human-shaped hole was smashed out on the planet where Saitama and Yu were fighting. When this man climbed out of the pit with a depth of 10,000 meters, the entire pirate world was completely shocked. With such expressionless eyes and indifference, who else could there be besides the real devil in their world? However, although Im's eyes were still indifferent, the clothes on Im's body were in tatters and his hair was a lot messy. He no longer had the expression that he had when he became a god in the pirate world. At this time, the lights of the time and space pendulum flickered on and off, and the time and space pendulum itself was also trembling. Regarding the outcome of the battle between Yu and One Punch Man Saitama, there was no word yet. And people also completely focused their attention on Im. As soon as Im climbed out of the pit, he looked up and saw Yu, and his face turned pale with fright. It's you, Yu, it's you B asterisk 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 D. Im Jinhu roared. Yu was located above the sky, with an arc at the corner of his mouth. It's you, I didn't expect you to come back again. Yu said jokingly with the corners of his mouth raised slightly. Facing his former formidable enemy, Yu himself seemed very relaxed. I don't know how many times stronger I am now than before. At this time, Yu feels a little leisurely and wants to catch up with this old rival. You guy, it seems you are not good at staying in the gap between time and space. Yu said with a smile. Im gritted his teeth after hearing this. Yu was right. After discovering that he was no match for Yu, he traveled through the gap in time and space, thinking that when he became stronger in the future, he would find a way to come back and take back his own pirate world. But, he didn't realize that he had actually traveled to a very terrifying universe. There were countless powerful people in that world. Even if someone like me, who is at the top of the pirate world and is called a god, is not ranked at all in that world. Although there were no weird abilities in that world, their physical abilities were extremely powerful. Various weird light waves can even be emitted from their bodies. And I was very unlucky to meet a fighting race in their universe. Although there were very few people from their race who survived, they were all top-notch strong men. And if I want to enslave them, the result can be imagined, and I will be handed over to be a human being in an instant. Then, I met all kinds of powerful people in that world, and even all kinds of gods, and my status became even lower. I am afraid that if I am not careful, I will anger the gods. In the end it led to a fatal disaster. My life there was not easy at all. Damn Yu, it's you who allowed me to travel to that universe and let me taste the life of an inferior person. It's all because of you. Now, I will take revenge. Who was in tatters and in a mess, roared at Yu. This scene directly made the audience completely dumbfounded. They originally thought that the failure of the One Punch Man world would be announced and a new world would be ushered in. But I never imagined that such a sudden change would occur. The pendulum of time and space unexpectedly stopped working, and a world of pirates came. Yu's men were defeated and threatened to fight Yu. The Hokage world, Uzumaki Naruto, Kakashi, Uchiha Madara, Tatsumaki, Bengu, Atomic Samurai, and the Child Emperor in the One Punch Man world all looked at each other in confusion. A confused look on his face. However, these melon-eating people are still very interested in the next battle between this Im and Yu. After all, this guy named Im, according to what he said, was one of the strongest men in the pirate world before. People in the pirate world were shocked when they saw Yimu's appearance, but when they heard that Yimu was going to fight Yu, they all couldn't help laughing. It's scary, this guy Im doesn't even know now that Yu is more powerful than before, right? Marco said jokingly to Im. White-bearded Edward Newgate also touched his beard with his hand. Ha ha ha, defeat Yu. Are you kidding me? Even the top experts in the other world have been defeated by Yu one by one. Im. What can your former defeated generals endure? Quote. Even Uchiha Madara in the Hokage world showed contempt for this Amu. HMPH, Yu is an opponent who can't even defeat me. What can you say to Im? Uchiha Madara was very disdainful towards Im. In the world of One Punch Man, everyone is not optimistic about this sudden appearance of Im. After all, the ceiling in their world, One Punch Man, has failed, so what can a mere Im mean? However, facing everyone's ridicule, Im suddenly laughed. Ha ha ha, in that world, I wouldn't be ranked at all, but in this world, I can still kill guys like you, Yu. I'm even more terrifying than before. Im said with a look on his face. A proud look. It can be seen that Im attaches great importance to the world she traveled through before. Oh, more powerful than before. Interesting, let me see how much stronger you are than before. Yu became a little more interested. I really don't know where this guy Im traveled through time. If he traveled through time to a world that was awesome, it would really be possible to improve in that world. It just so happens that Saitama is now out of the battle, so he can play with his former old rival Im. You should keep an eye on it, Yu. After saying that, Im directly kicked the ground with his feet, and with a loud bang, Conquerors wrapped around Im's fist and attacked Yu heavily. As fast as lightning, as soon as he finished speaking, he was already approaching Yi Yu. Yi Yu was really caught off guard. At this time, Yi Yu's expression was even more confused. Holy shit, did you make a mistake? Isn't this move Saitama's move? Did this IM learn some imitation ability similar to Sharingan in another world? Yi Yu said with confusion on his face. Other worlds are fine, but the pirate world is in a state of chaos. The senior management of Marine almost burst into tears. I remember Yimu, but she is a person who doesn't like to do anything. Her attack method is the same as Yi Yu, but when did Yimu start to improve her physical fitness? Have you practiced? 5 elders asked in confusion. I think he must have gone to a world that valued physical fitness and learned physical skills. Garp murmured. Sengoku was still confused, even if learned taijutsu in another world. But he is determined to use taijutsu and wants to defeat Yi Yu. Seng Guo said in confusion. The revolutionary army group located in the Holy Land Maryajoya were shocked when they first saw Im's appearance. After all, the ultimate purpose of their revolutionary army's existence was to defeat Im. Who would have thought that Im would be back? Forget about coming back. Who would have thought that Im's current physical combat ability has been strengthened, and he has begun to rely on physical skills in fights? Yeah, I never thought before that this guy Im would be so powerful in physical skills. Everyone was shocked in their hearts. Yi Yu, who was on the battlefield, was also extremely surprised when he saw Im moonwalking in the air towards him. I really didn't expect that you guy. Where did you travel through time? You actually tempered your body. Yi Yu said in surprise. Im showed a proud smile in the air. This is the physical strength that he has cultivated with great difficulty and hardship in a different world. The purpose is to defeat Yi. HMPH, I didn't know how much hardship I endured in order to learn this powerful physical ability. The purpose is just for today. Yi Yu, today is the day you die. This is the real way to fight. If I hadn't traveled through the gap in time and space to another world, I wouldn't have known that a person could cultivate physical strength beyond domineering. This is my opportunity. This time, I must kill you, Yi Yu. Im shouted loudly in the air, attacking Yi Yu for a while. Chapter 239. Time and space are confused, the strongest killer appears. The powerful impact actually caused the air passing behind Im to be heated by friction, and there was a hint of burning smell in the air. And Imna's fist wrapped around Conqueror's also hit Yi Yu's Conqueror's defensive shield hard. Boom. There was a roar. Yi Yu's Conqueror's defensive shield, and the Conquerors around him were directly shaken, creating a wave. Im's attack finally stopped after it penetrated Yi Yu's Conqueror's defensive shield and was within 100 meters. Im, who also owns Conquerors, is very familiar with Yi Yu's Conquerors. After turning on his detection ability, he instantly froze in the air, his whole hands shaking non-stop. How is this possible? How can your Conquerors be so huge? Im was completely speechless. Just after his fist came into contact with Yi Yu's Conquerors, Im thoroughly understood Yi Yu's Conqueror's reserve, which can be described as endless. Because not only does Yi Yu's Conquerors have a very large reserve, but what frightens people even more is that Yi Yu's Conquerors is still growing every minute and every second. So Im's face turned pale with fright. Ha ha ha, Im, it seems that you have fallen. If you have a fight, you have to fight. Aren't you tired from running around? Yi Yu said jokingly to Im. Immediately after hearing this, he felt ashamed. This feeling was even more uncomfortable than when Yi Yu defeated him with his own hands. Because, I was also a person who relied on Conquerors to attack before. When I arrived in another world, I found that other people's physical abilities were very powerful, so I started to give up on Conqueror's practice and started practicing physical fitness. As a result, he, after all the hard work, even carrying water and tea to people in that world, finally managed to travel back to his own world and seek revenge on Yi Yu. I found that, what the heck? Yi Yu was still practicing Conquerors, and he managed to master it very easily. This feeling is as uncomfortable as eating shit. In fact, Im is wrong to think this way. After all, Yi Yu is a man with a system. If Im without a system, he really won't improve much if he keeps practicing Conquerors. It's okay that people in other worlds don't understand Yimu. Yimu's performance made people in the pirate world laugh for a long time. A group of revolutionary troops located in the Holy Land of Maryajoya, Revolutionary Dragon, showed contempt. HMPH. I thought it would become so powerful, but this demon turned out to be killed instantly in front of Yi Yu. Revolutionary Long said mockingly. The other people, Sabo, the Demon King, and the commander of the Revolutionary Army, all laughed. If their smiles were seen by Im, they would probably faint from anger on the spot. I don't know when, the people who once ruled by Im, who were very afraid of Im, are no longer afraid of the devil Im, and they even look down on Im. After all, in front of Yi Yu, Im was nothing. People in the Hokage world were instantly no longer interested in this guy who was once an enemy of Yi Yu. Sage of Six Paths spoke very disappointedly. I originally thought that he would be a strong man of the same level as Yi Yu, but I didn't expect that he would be so low. What's the point? Yi Yu killed him instantly. Sage of Six Paths looked contemptuous. And Uchiha Madara started bragging again. That's the man who defeated me. How could an ordinary person be Yi Yu's opponent? On the battlefield, Yi Yu once again released his Conqueror's pressure. Im, who was still flying in the air before, fell directly from the air under this terrifying pressure. After sliding to the ground, Im's eyes were round and it could be seen that they were filled with bloodshot eyes. His body began to shake involuntarily. His heart was in turmoil. Really couldn't understand that Yi Yu, who was almost the same as him in Conquerors before, had only left this world for a few days, and now he had become so powerful. He was actually able to make himself, the former king of Conquerors, feel fear in his heart, fear from the deepest part of his soul. This kind of mental torture was something that he would never even think about before. One day I will experience this feeling. While I am falling straight down, she felt a huge energy group below her. This is what he learned in another world. He can judge a person's strength by sensing the breath. There was a loud bang, and a bald man appeared and charged towards the sky. I happened to see I am falling straight down. Saitama frowned, looking very disgusted. Huh, what is this? Don't disturb my battle with Yi Yu. Saitama said very unhappy. Then he immediately slapped I am flying aside. Feeling the damage caused by One Punch Man Saitama, I am was in severe pain. FK, the ribs, are broken. I am shouted inwardly and flew directly in the other direction. It hit directly on a mountain with a height of 10,000 meters. The entire mountain was smashed into pieces by I am. A large number of rocks fell down, directly burying I am in it. Before falling into unconsciousness, I am kept cursing in his heart. Who is this? With such terrifying power, he can be called a strong person even in his own world. However, Saitama was too lazy to pay attention. Hey, is that thing a living thing? However, I can't control that much. Yi Yu, our battle is not over yet. The bald man pointed his finger at Yi Yu, his expression unusually firm. Saitama's momentum alone has triggered lightning between the sky and the earth. Bolts of lightning kept striking down from the sky. There was even a bolt of lightning that struck Saitama's body directly. However, Saitama seemed to be fine. At this moment, there was only Yi Yu in Chi Yu's eyes. At this time, changes in the sky continued to appear, and more space-time gaps continued to appear. Yi Yu frowned when he noticed the abnormality. At the same time, Yi Yu looked at the time and space pendulum in the sky. Sure enough, the pendulum of time and space, which was flickering before and now, turned even darker at this time. What is going on? Yi Yu was very confused in his heart. The voice came out again, and an old man fell from the sky. Yi Yu looked over. Others did not recognize this old man, but Yi Yu did. Isn't this the old man Zeus in the final world of Valkyrie? In the end, he knelt down and defeated the atom of his world, becoming the first god to win on his knees. Seeing Zeus, Yi Yu finally understood that the world must be in chaos. No, it's not so much that chaos has occurred in our own world, but rather that chaos has occurred in another world. It was also because of the chaos in the other world that the pendulum of time and space began to run out of gas. Zeus cried loudly on the ground. It was hard to imagine that this man could be Zeus, the king of the gods. How could he still have any dignity of god at this time? It's over, we all have to die. We all have to die. Zeus cried loudly to the people next to him. Why can human beings be so powerful? Even our gods are not powerful enough in front of this barbarian. They can kill us instantly with just one finger. It's so terrifying. Question mark. The intrusion of the old man Zeus successfully attracted the attention of other people. First of all, Saitama frowned and looked at the old man. He really couldn't figure out what happened. Could it be that some god-level weirdo appeared in another world? People in the pirate world also looked confused. What exactly is going on? Could it be that this old man is from the same world as I am? Why are there so many space-time gaps in the entire sky, and what happened? I heard that old man say that there is a barbarian who can kill all the gods with just a few fingers. Is this a joke? Marco said very doubtfully. Whitebeard and Golden Lion looked at each other, and they saw the same confused look in their eyes. In the world of Hokage, Kakashi frowned. Suddenly, an Amu appeared, and then a guy who claimed to be a god suddenly appeared. It seems that there is some powerful space ninja who is releasing his powerful abilities. Well, this is the only way to explain it at the moment. Kakashi murmured. In the world of One Punch Man, there is even more confusion. God has been killed. Could it be said that in this old man's world, the power of gods is so weak? Immediately afterwards, the gap in time and space became wider, and more people from the two-dimensional world appeared in it. There are captains from the Shinigami world, goblins from the Little Matchmaker world, elves from the Pokemon world, and even characters from Ultraman, Armor Warrior, and Dragon Ball all appear one by one. Although there is a huge gap in strength between them, they all look sad. It's over, that person's power is really terrifying. This pirate world should be our last safe haven. It won't be long before that barbarian comes over and kills all the humans in this world. It's so scary. What are these people from all dimensions talking about? Yi Yu finally understood something while listening to their conversation. Co-author. In another world, due to the same pendulum of time and space, there is a huge guy who has wiped out all the people in the second dimension. What is even more terrifying is that, for some unknown reason, this terrifying guy actually came out of the dual field and extended his claws to the entire world. Yi Yu can also conclude that there must be a reason for the time and space pendulum to become like this in this terrifying guy. According to Yi Yu's guess, it was probably because the time and space pendulum fought with this person, and then this person's energy was too powerful, so the time and space pendulum was defeated. This guy broke the rule that the pendulum of time and space can only fight in the dual arena, and began to face the massacre of the entire two-dimensional world. And the pirate world became the last world. These words were naturally transmitted directly to the world of pirates, the world of Hokage, and the world of One Punch Man through live broadcast. In the world of pirates, the revolutionary Long has a ferocious look on his face. Are you kidding? Is there really such a powerful guy? Revolutionary Long said in disbelief. The facial expressions of the E King are exaggerated to the extreme. What should I do, Mr. Long? The barbarians in the other world seem to be very scary. According to what they said, I really doubt whether Yi Yu will be his opponent. The She-Monster King said very worriedly. Sabo also looked melancholy. You know, although Yi Yu is very powerful, Mr. Yi Yu is only fighting people from two worlds after all. And that guy who is called a barbarian, according to the people who have traveled through time, he is defeating almost the entire two-dimensional world. This is too terrifying. An atmosphere of fear and worry quietly rose among the revolutionary army. In the red-haired pirate group area, Kid looked incredulous. Listening to these people's conversations, Kid felt as if he was listening to a book from heaven. What are those guys talking about? Kid said to Hawkins. The expression on Hawkins's face was not very good, but he finally spoke very solemnly. The huge changes I predicted before have happened. According to my divination, this big change will only happen once in 100,000 years. After hearing Hawkins' words, the people around them became even more nervous. In the duel field, Yi Yu gave it a try, and sure enough, under the influence of his conquerors, these people were really sent from the duel field to the pirate world. Sure enough, this world is in chaos. It seems possible to travel through various spaces within a short period of time. However, I don't know who the barbarian these people are referring to is. Hey, you guys, tell me, what does the barbarian you call look like? Yi Yu said to these scared people from another world. Hearing Yi Yu's inquiry, these people's eyes showed deep shock, but they didn't want to recall the beast anymore. It's okay under normal conditions, but once it starts fighting, it turns into a ferocious beast, with only killing in its eyes. Just as these people were about to speak, they heard a huge roar from the gap in time and space. The sound resounded throughout the world, and was extremely powerful. Those who had escaped from the other world were suddenly frightened again. This voice is him, he is here. It's finished, we're finished. I originally thought that we could escape from it by relying on the space-time gap created by the aftermath of that scary guy. But, I really didn't expect that that guy would come to our last world so quickly. Even this world failed in the end. Everyone was horrified. Chapter 240 Dragon Ball World Killer. Yi Yu and One Punch Man looked at each other, and one could see in their eyes the anticipation for this coming guy. Only a truly strong person would not choose to escape when faced with such a fearful guy. The powerful men in the pirate world frowned when they heard the howls of the refugees in the different dimension world. Even strong men like Whitebeard Edward Newgate, Golden Lion, Garp, and Warring States had a faint feeling of unwillingness in their hearts. Just hearing the howling sound can make them feel fear in their hearts. There is no doubt that only the truly strong can scare people with just their voice. Even the red-haired Shanks, who owned Conquerors, started to tremble with his hands at this time. This voice actually has a faint aura of Conquerors. This person is very powerful, red-haired Shanks said with a shocked look on his face. The boys on the side were all frightened. They had also heard the sound just now. It was the most primitive and powerful sound. It seemed that the person who made this sound came from one of the oldest fighting tribes, and this person was exactly this person. The strongest in the tribe. Kid, who was in the area of the red-haired pirates, also frowned tightly. This sound sounds very scary. It's filled with the aura of killing, and it's the kind of killing instinct that comes from the bones. This is the most terrifying thing, Kid said with trembling hands. Apu and Kira on the side also showed expressions of despair. Just a roar can bring huge shock to their hearts. It is certain that this person's strength must be very strong. In fact, they didn't know that the reason why Yi Yu brought them less fear was entirely because Yi Yu himself didn't want them to taste fear. If Yi Yu wants to make these people feel fear, he only needs to spread his conquerors to the entire world. By then, even a superstar like Kid will succumb to his conquerors and tremble. Within the holy land of Mariajoya, the celestial dragons were scurrying around one by one. They have ruled this world for so many years, but they have never heard the sound of such primitive killing. This makes them feel a deep feeling of fear in the deepest part of their souls. They are very reluctant to experience this feeling, as they feel like they will be killed at any time. The sense of oppression brought to them by the revolutionary army is more powerful. These high-ranking heavenly dragons were falling to the ground one by one at this time, trembling all over. This sound is so terrifying, he will kill us all. Only a murderous demon can make such a terrifying sound. The Tianlong people wailed one by one. On the side of the Hokage world, after Naruto heard this sound, he directly hugged his head, looking a little painful. Sakura on the side noticed Naruto's abnormality and patted Naruto on the shoulder. What's wrong, Uzumaki Naruto? Sakura asked very concerned. Uzumaki Naruto straightened his expression, his face was solemn, and there was a trace of surprise in his eyes. I can feel that this man comes from the deepest and most primitive barbaric power. He has been a killer since he was born. Such a character would appear. Uzumaki Naruto said excitedly. Kakashi, Shikamaru and others also frowned. Although their dimensional world belongs to the defeated side, Yi Yu's character does not look like the kind of demon that enslaves them. Yi Yu is called a devil simply because he is too powerful. But this intruder from another dimension could feel the incomparable darkness in his heart and feel the aura of killing. This time, if we fail, I'm afraid our entire Hokage world will fall to this intruder, right? Gaara of the Sand Falls also said with a fearful expression. If that's really the case, I think, let's just wish ourselves well. According to my prediction, we are likely to be massacred on the spot. Kakashi looked solemn. Color, said very frightened. Even when facing Uchiha Madara, Kakashi was able to calmly analyze countermeasures, but when he heard the roar from the gap in time and space, Kakashi admitted that he was scared. If it is an invader, according to what those former defectors said, this primitive man will not only kill the people in the dual field, but also the entire human world outside the dual field will be massacred by this demon. Quote. He massacred the entire world. Shikamaru also began to analyze the current situation. That is to say, at that time, we need to mobilize the power of the entire world again to become his enemy. 8 killer bees murmured with a light flashing from their sunglasses. As soon as these words came out, people in the entire Hokage world, even Uchiha Madara, clenched their fists one by one. If it is true, as these defectors said, that this invader wants to kill the entire two-dimensional world, then they really have to work together and join forces with Yu to fight against this invader. When people in the One Punch Man world heard this terrifying sound, they all showed shocked expressions. This intruder was able to shatter people's hearts with just his voice. This is enough to show that the disaster level of the person in front of me must exceed the god-level disaster. The outside world is really terrifying. I didn't expect that there would be so many weirdos who could surpass god-level disasters. The trembling Tatsumaki said tremblingly. He no longer looked as domineering as before. Even Bangu, who had always been relatively steady, swallowed his own saliva at this time. The sound alone can achieve a shocking effect. This only shows that the energy in this guy's body is extremely powerful. This time, our doom is coming. Bang Ji-yu said with a frown. The Child Emperor and the Mechanical Pioneer were on the side. The two took out their computers to make calculations, and then they were shocked. Incredible. This guy, the energy generated by the sound alone has reached a combat power of 10,000. What a terrifying guy. Boom. With the arrival of this huge energy, the time and space pendulum in the sky directly shattered. When the pendulum of time and space shattered, a ray of light was directly released, and the previous planet expanded several times again. The entire planet was made of the hardest material in the universe. It has only one purpose, presumably to stop the man in front of you. Stop his wanton behavior and annex the entire two-dimensional world. A savage man with swollen muscles, golden pupils, and exuding the power of a giant ape appeared. Powerful power surged in instantly. Even One Punch Man Saitama's expression changed suddenly. It seemed that a guy more terrifying than Johan appeared. I have broken through so many layers of limiters, and yet I am still afraid of being affected by this terrifying energy. What a scary guy. Whether it was Saitama, the refugees from the entire two-dimensional world, the pirate world, the Hokage world, or the One Punch Man world, all looked at Brawly in horror. I.M. showed a pale expression. Brawly. It was him who defeated Sengoku, the god of destruction, and even all the kings in a duel in the arena. Terrible guy. The potential in this guy is really terrifying. I.M. said in horror. Those two-dimensional refugees are also holding their heads one by one. Just mentioning the name Brawly can scare them to the point of peeing. Among them, the most unpromising ones are the gods in the Valkyrie world at the end. There is no sense of being a god at this time. They are full of ugliness. Feeling the aura of beasts and the power of the giant ape brought by Brawly, the strong men in the pirate world looked at him one by one. What a powerful body, what terrifying power. Golden Lion Shiki said. Brawly's impression of Golden Lion Shiki is definitely at Yiyu's level. As long as Brawly is willing, he can kill himself instantly just by moving his fingers. White-bearded Edward Newgate looked hesitant. This kind of terrifying combat power is probably on the same level as Yiyu. Can Yiyu win this battle? Mihawk's eyes flashed and he murmured to the sky. If we cannot achieve the final victory, I'm afraid we will suffer. Yiyu also looked at Brawly at this time. Sure enough, the real strongest person came from the Dragon Ball world. Brawly, look at this, even the world of Dragon Ball has been destroyed by it. Normally speaking, although Brawly is powerful, he is not as powerful as Gogeta. Could it be that, because of the pendulum of time and space, Brawly was allowed to stand up? Yiyu thought for a while and finally nodded heavily. Yes, that's right. As we have seen in the anime before, the reason why Brawly failed is because he was not fighting alone. He even had to face the joint transformation of Sengoku and Vegeta, so he lost to them. However, if he were to fight alone, relying on Brawly's talent, it would really be possible to surpass him again in the Dragon Ball world, and it would be impossible to finally produce a power that surpasses all kings. Brawly, this guy, has completely taken advantage of the pendulum of time and space. The environment created by the pendulum of time and space, facing one-on-one challenges from various strong men, is simply tailor-made for Brawly, a barbarian. Brawly also noticed the presence of One Punch Man Saitama and Yohane. When I first saw One Punch Man, I was just slightly surprised. I didn't expect that in such a weakling in the second dimension, there would be such a strong man with a bald head. However, Brawly was only slightly surprised when facing Saitama. After all, the reason why Saitama draws his attention is entirely because in the world he lives in, other people are too weak in combat effectiveness. And Saitama kind of stands out from the crowd, but that's all. My attention was completely attracted by Yi Yu. Then Brawly turned his eyes to Yi Yu, with an excited expression on his face. From Brawly's eyes, you can see the strong will to fight. Ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha, great, great fighting place, great opponent. Ha 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 ha, Brawly roared at the sky. With his explosive muscles and exaggerated expression, he doesn't look like a human being, but more like a terrifying beast. A violent roaring sound came over, and the entire giant artificial planet was filled with more than 10 levels of strong winds. With this roar, Brawly quickly charged towards Yi Yu. This made One Punch Man Saitama on the side a little unhappy after seeing it. I am just a decoration, right? Boom. Saitama stepped on the ground with both feet, and an instant impact hit Brawly's side. At the same time, Saitama felt extremely surprised and looked at his feet. There was only a hole with a depth of only 1 meter. You know, Saitama's combat power is now many times stronger than before, but with all his strength, the powerful reaction force can only form a small hole in the ground. How could Saitama not be surprised by this? Is this the super planet created by the pendulum of time and space to trap Brawly? It's really scary. Punch seriously. Saitama didn't dare to be careless. Even the place where they fought was so terrifying. How could I be careless? The powerful fist struck Brawly hard. The next moment, Brawly directly grasped Saitama's fist with his palm. The energy on Brawly's body turned into substance, and the sound made by the energy sounded very strange. Question mark. Saitama suddenly lost his composure. Even when fighting Yi Yu, he had never encountered such a situation. No one can control a serious punch. The person in front of me actually did it. In the world of One Punch Man, Genos widened his eyes. Teacher Saitama's serious punch, which has always been invincible, was actually completely seen by this terrifying guy. Genos showed a very surprised expression. Even if Yi Joxian resisted with strength, or the terrifying weirdo avoided Saitama's attack by avoiding, he would not be surprised. But, Saitama-sensei's attack was actually completely seen by others, and his attack was followed by others. It's hard not to think calmly. Bang Ji Yu on the side showed an indescribable expression. I really can't figure out why that guy, so powerful, actually knows martial arts. That guy actually saw through Saitama's attack. The perfect combination of strength and technology. I'm afraid Yi Yu can't achieve this. Bang Ji Yu said in shock. If this is the case, it will be troublesome. The final winner might be this Brawly. After the trembling Tatsumaki heard that the final winner would be Brawly, he showed a horrified expression. He had always felt that only by relying on powerful abilities could he become a great hero. However, Brawly completely changed his perception. It is really unimaginable that in another world, one can reach such a terrifying state just by relying on his powerful body and martial arts. Chapter 241 Conquerors also angry. People in the pirate world were also surprised. One move, just one move. He caught a serious punch from One Punch Man Saitama. You must know that this punch originally shook Yi Yu's Conqueror's defensive shield. But this barbarian named Brawly resisted him so easily. On the battlefield, Brawly immediately showed a wicked smile. With a heavy punch, terrifying energy surged out instantly. Even this super artificial planet underwent horrific changes due to Brawly's fighting will. Thunder was rolling across the sky, a scene of doomsday. Bump. A punch hit Saitama's head hard, and the bridge of Saitama's nose was instantly broken by this terrible force. It's not over yet. Bang 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 bang. Punch after punch was swung at Saitama's body, and the blows on Saitama's body produced muffled groans one after another. This terrifying sound was like two mighty mountains colliding, and the sound was deafening. And Saitama's body bones were directly shattered under the terrifying punch after punch attack. And Saitama, who is invincible in the world with one punch, is like a child in front of Brawly, being beaten at will by Brawly. Genos in the world of One Punch Man gritted his teeth. Teacher Saitama was so powerful that he was beaten by this barbarian. People from the pirate world, the Hokage world, the Valkyrie at the end, and other worlds all showed horrified expressions. Old man Zeus was so frightened that he fell to his knees on the ground. Facing such a terrifying Brawly, his dignity as a god was completely gone. Now the old man Zeus is thinking about what if Brawly really unified the world, so he knelt down in front of Brawly and begged him to spare him. I don't know if this murderer can spare my life. The strong men in the Hokage world, Sage of Six Paths, Uchiha Madara, Naruto and Sasuke are all frightened. This battle is different from the past. Firstly, this guy named Brawly is obviously more ferocious than others. Secondly, now that there is no protection from the pendulum of time and space, the people in the duel field, as well as themselves, may be killed by this person who likes to kill. Kill the barbarians. A series of fists directly caused Saitama, the bald devil, to lose consciousness. Then he grabbed Saitama's collar and pulled it casually. Saitama fell straight down like a kite with a broken string, and then fell heavily to the ground. Saitama didn't move at all anymore. Just lying quietly on the ground. Seeing Saitama being eliminated so quickly, people on the side opened their mouths one by one. Kaido's hands started to tremble and he showed an incredible expression. How is this possible? That bald man, who is second only to Yi Yu, was actually killed so easily. The four emperors' aunt also opened her mouth wide. Ah, how is this possible? Is that barbarian really so terrifying? Even a man of steel like you and me, I'm afraid he would just move a finger and easily kill us, right? Charlotte Linlin also said in shock. Golden Lion Shiki smiled sarcastically directly at the two four emperors. You guys, your so-called steel bodies, in front of the people in the duel field, I think they are just some tofu cubes, right? Golden Lion Shiki shook his head and said. But this time, Kaido and Big Mom, two guys who have always been proud, did not refute. There was no other way. What Golden Lion Shiki said was right. Their own strength has long been left far behind by these strong men. Sage of Six Paths in the world of Hokage, cold sweat breaks out on my forehead. Based on the current situation, this guy named Brawly's combat power has completely surpassed Yi Yu. After all, Yoyu couldn't even kill One Punch Man Saitama instantly, but he was easily killed instantly in Brawly's hands. Which one is strong and which one is weak is clear at a glance. Uchiha Madara also showed a rare expression of horror. Apart from Yi Yu, this is the second strong person that he recognizes, and he can definitely kill him in an instant. Uzumaki Naruto gritted his teeth tightly and clenched his fists. No matter what, we must win in the end. Otherwise, we will have to fight to the death with that barbarian. No matter what, we must achieve the final victory. Naruto Uzumaki said with his eyes widened. Kakashi, Sakura, Sasuke, Eight-Tails Killer Bee and others on the side also looked solemn. On the battlefield, after finishing all this, Brawly continued to look at Yi Yu. First get rid of the trash fish, and then it's your turn. Brawly said excitedly. Yi Yu also narrowed his eyes slightly. One Punch Man Saitama broke through the limiter twice in the battle with him. I didn't expect that even though he was so powerful, he still couldn't defeat Brawly. Don't even say that he defeated Brawly. Even Brawly's normal giant ape power couldn't defeat him, and he was instantly killed by Brawly with the normal giant ape power. The person in front of me is definitely no small matter. Yi Yu narrowed his eyes and rarely moved his fingers. Although it was just a small movement, Conqueror's overwhelming domineering energy surged all over the sky. Brawly frowned directly. Sensing Yi Yu's domineering aura, Brawly narrowed his eyes. I really didn't expect that you, a guy, actually understands aura, and your aura seems to be very domineering, a bit like the aura of the king. It's just a pity that that guy, King Quan, has been killed by me. Brawly said viciously. In fact, Brawly is right. Yi Yu's aura and the energy mentioned in the Dragon Balls belong to the same source of gas. It's just that Conqueror's is more domineering than ordinary fighting spirit. Yi Yu looked at Brawly and was slightly lost in thought. All the kings were actually killed by Brawly. It seems that due to the pendulum of time and space, Brawly has been led directly to the wrong trajectory. Because of the pendulum of time and space, Brawly not only became stronger in strength, but his mind also gradually transformed into a beast. Maybe, Brawly is the real Saiyan. Brawly also roared loudly with a powerful aura. A direct collision with Yi Yu's Conqueror's domination. The entire sky instantly became lightning and thunder, and even on such a terrifying planet, the entire ground still shook tremendously. The sea is even more turbulent, with wave after wave constantly impacting the earth. The atmosphere on the entire planet was extremely terrifying. Gives a scene of the end of the world. Feeling Brawly's overwhelming fighting will, Yi Yu was also slightly stunned. I can clearly sense that the aura released by this wild man in front of me is almost the same as my own Conqueror's haki. It's just that Brawly's aura feels more like the domineering nature of a beast, while his own is the domineering nature of a human overlord. There is an instinctive difference between the two. For example, Yi Yu can still be very rational when releasing his aura, and it is obvious that Brawly is. After releasing his breath, his head was getting closer and closer to the beast. Hooray! Brawly yelled. A large amount of energy burst out from his legs in an instant, like a supersonic missile, leaving a trace in the sky. The entire space in the sky was directly split into two halves by Brawly. Yi Yu frowned slightly. He knew the resistance of this planet very well, but Brawly was actually able to exert such terrifying power on such a planet. From this we can see how powerful Brawly's energy and Brawly's giant ape power are. With a charged blow, a large amount of energy was directly concentrated on Brawly's fist, and he hit Yi Yu hard. When Brawly was still 1,000 meters away from Yi Yu, he was slightly stunned. Brawly narrowed his eyes and could clearly feel the Conqueror's barrier released by Yi Yu. You actually surrounded yourself with gas. HMPH, such a boring trick. Brawly said disdainfully with a curved corner of his mouth. The next moment, Brawly directly raised his hands, and thousands of energy gathered above Brawly's head in an instant. This energy gathered directly into a sphere and made a strange energy sound. Go! As Brawly shouted, the air bomb above Brawly's head directly hit the Conqueror's barrier around Yi. Just the slightest contact between the two instantly produced terrifying energy. This energy began to produce violent chemical reactions, and then shot out in all directions with the sound of an explosion that resounded throughout the world. Boom, 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 boom. Various explosions exploded on this planet. The giant mountain peak that reached a height of 100,000 meters on this planet was directly blown to pieces. A large number of fragments slipped from the mountain and landed directly on a raging river. The entire river was intercepted instantly. A large amount of flood surged in all directions, and the animals in the entire primeval forest were directly washed away by the raging river. In an instant, the entire artificial planet was filled with smoke generated by the explosion. Yi Yu's own Conqueror's defensive cover was also blown to pieces by this terrifying air bomb explosion, leaving only the Conqueror's armor within 1 decimeter of Yi Yu himself. At this time, people in the pirate world were completely uneasy. It's just a simple air bomb, but it can have such terrifying destructive power. You must know that Yi Yu's Conqueror's defensive shield was very powerful in the pirate world and even in other two-dimensional worlds that Yi Yu fought with. This terrifying defense was easily broken through, which is enough to see why Brawly caused such a panic to those who were fleeing. This guy is really scary. Brawly also widened his eyes. You guy, your energy can actually resist my energy bombs, it's interesting. Next, let's see how you resist. Brawly howled loudly at Yi Yu. Huge roar. Brawly opened his mouth wide and breathed out the surrounding air vigorously. Even the Conqueror's haki released by Yi Yu was basically sucked into his mouth by Brawly. Yi Yu showed a rare serious expression. This guy named Brawly must have learned some strange moves while fighting Sengoku. This guy's control over gas far exceeded his imagination. It is really unimaginable that Brawly, this guy, can actually inhale the Conqueror's haki he released directly into his mouth. You must know that your own Conqueror's domineering power can repulse others. Just the terrifying sense of oppression will cause suffocation if others breathe it into their mouths. And Brawly is actually fine. A burst of terrifying energy appeared directly from Brawly's mouth, and Brawly's mouth opened wide, like a ferocious beast. This scene completely frightened the people in the surrounding two-dimensional world. Old man Zeus even stuck his buttocks out and cried loudly on the ground. I just said, this guy is a devil, he is the reincarnation of the devil from ancient times. It's over, even the guy named Yi Yu is vulnerable in front of demon god Brawly. Old man Zeus shouted loudly. This cry shocked the surrounding Whitebeard members and glared at them one by one. White-bearded Edward Newgate and Golden Lion Shiki walked directly in front of Zeus. Old man, if you dare to talk nonsense again, be careful we will smash your teeth. White-bearded Edward Newgate and Golden Lion Shiki said fiercely. Seeing the arrival of the two old men, Zeus no longer had the fear he had before. Instead, he seemed noble at that time. You are a lowly pariah from another world. I am a god, how dare you humans talk to me like this? Zeus, who was fierce in appearance and soft in heart, bullied the weak and feared the strong, roared and reprimanded Edward Newgate, the white-bearded man, and Shiki, the golden lion. The old man Zeus, who was crying just now, turned around and became arrogant to them. Edward Newgate with Whitebeard and Shiki the golden lion looked at each other directly. From each other's eyes, they all saw what they were going to do next. The next moment, old man Zeus, for some unknown reason, flew directly into the air. Old man Zeus was grabbing something randomly in the sky, and you could see the confusion on his face. What's going on? What's going on? I actually flew straight up. Zeus shouted in the sky in disbelief. The Whitebeard pirates, who already had strong objections to the old man Zeus, laughed mockingly at the old man Zeus. Ha 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 ha. In an instant, there was mocking laughter everywhere. Old Zeus looked angry in the air. He was a god, but he was being teased by a group of unruly people. If other gods knew about this, how would he lose his face? Chapter 242 Brawly, can you teleport? You despicable humans, how dare you disrespect me, do you want to die? Zeus grabbed something randomly in the sky, still looking aloof. White-bearded Edward Newgate stared blankly. The next moment, he directly used his own ability. Although he didn't use too much power, what he had was the most aggressive paramesha fruit in the world. The power was not too weak. A powerful vibration appeared in the air, and old man Zeus was directly shaken by the vibration, and his body bones were broken. Ah! Old man Zeus shouted loudly, and a mouthful of blood spurted out directly from his mouth. Old man Zeus looked ashen, he really didn't expect that he would be played by two mere humans. There was no longer the arrogance of the past, and old man Zeus became much quieter in an instant. HMPH, there used to be a guy like you in this world who was a god like you, but then, he was beaten by our captain Yi Yu 0 division and he was beaten like a rat. He was beaten to another dimension. World. If you still want to survive, be honest with us now. Edward Newgate, the white-bearded man, shouted loudly to Zeus in the air. Golden Lion Shiki then cancelled his ability. After cancelling his ability, old man Zeus fell heavily from the sky, stirring up a burst of dust, but Zeus never dared to say another word. Even people in the Hokage world were very afraid of Brawly's attack when they saw it. This guy doesn't look like a normal person. Is he some kind of special Jinchuriki? Uzumaki Naruto straightened his expression and murmured. Special Jinchuriki. Hatake Kakashi frowned. In his world, the powerful tailed beasts are probably not as powerful as humans. That is definitely his own power. He is a powerful beast in his own right, Kakashi said to Brawly with a shocked expression. Sage of Six Paths also rarely showed a frightened expression. Is his world so weak? Among the people he knows, his brother, Toad Sage, not even Kagaya, can be the opponent of Brawly and Yi Yu in front of him. In the world of One Punch Man, everyone in the Hero Association and even the entire world is in an atmosphere of fear. Everyone can see how tragic their final fate will be if this guy named Brawly wins the final victory. On the battlefield, the energy in Brawly's body became more and more powerful, and when it reached its limit, he vomited it out around Yi. Naruto Uzumaki, who was watching the battle, widened his eyes and shouted. Kakashi-sensei, you are right, this guy is indeed a Jinchuriki himself. Look at what he spit out from his mouth, isn't it the tailed beast Jade? Uzumaki Naruto roared loudly, very excited. The powerful air bombs hit Yi Yu, and the entire sky was dazzlingly illuminated. Yi Yu narrowed his eyes. With such a terrifying attack power, he could no longer act like before, so he directly stretched out his palm. So a yellow light appeared in front of Yi Yu and Brawly. Once this yellow light appeared, it merged crazily with the surrounding Conqueror's domineering force. In the end, it merged into a huge energy straight punch. This is the perfect combination of Yi Yu's shining fruit and Conqueror's, resulting in a fist. This fist attacked Brawly heavily, and once again collided with the powerful energy spit out from Brawly's mouth, causing a fierce and terrifying collision. In an instant, two powerful energy explosions shook the whole world. A large amount of sawdust and dust were directly stirred up and flew throughout the world. The people watching the battle were shocked again. It was their first time to witness such a terrifying collision. Two mountains of gas exploded like this. You must know that the place where they fought was a superplanet created by the pendulum of time and space. Even the original Great Demon King Saitama only made a hole in the ground under the powerful reaction force when he jumped. Now, the first collision between these two people has caused such huge changes in the entire world. Yi you guy, you must work hard. Defeat this Brawly barbarian, and we will win the final victory. People in the pirate world tightened their grip one by one. He fisted his fist and cheered Yi Yu up. On the battlefield, Yi Yu frowned slightly, not because of Brawly, but with just a casual blow, he solved his Conqueror's energy giant fist. It's because Brawly's speed is actually faster than he imagined. In terms of the collision of power, Yi Yu has endless Conqueror's domineering power, so Yi Yu is not too worried. Even though Brawly defeated all the kings, he has not shown too much strength. A powerful place. After all, the two of them were only attacking tentatively, and neither of them used their full strength. Yi Yu knew this in his heart. However, Brawly mysteriously disappeared after releasing this air bomb just now. This is the most terrifying thing. Could this guy's speed be said to have exceeded the speed of light? Even if Yi Yu uses his own shining fruit, Yi Yu may not be able to catch up. In just a blink of an eye, Brawly appeared directly behind Yi Yu, and at this time, Yi Yu's Conqueror's defensive shield had not yet recovered. All this is enough to show how fast Brawly is. Die, kid. Your strength is the same as that bald man, it just surprised me a little. In our world, there are countless guys stronger than you. Brawly said mockingly to Yi Yu. He is just an accelerated teleport. Arriving behind Yi Yu, it can be seen how slow Yi Yu's reaction is. The next moment, the muscles on Brawly's body suddenly spun, and powerful energy surged forward in just a moment, hitting Yi Yu heavily. The whistling of the wind has already sounded in Yi Yu's ears. Because the speed of all this is so fast, other people in the two-dimensional world who are watching the battle are not aware of it at all. Boom. Brawly punched Yi Yu hard, and just 1 millimeter away from Yi Yu's Conqueror's armor, Yi Yu's surroundings disappeared out of thin air. Brawly's punch was empty, and his whole face looked confused. Brawly stared blankly at his fist with an incredulous look. He never thought that his attack would actually fail. Yi Yu actually disappeared out of thin air while he was within his sure kill range. This makes me feel a lot like Sengoku's teleportation. Could it be that this guy Yi Yu also knows how to teleport? Brawly's eyes began to become a little serious. Everything in front of him was telling Brawly that the guy named Yi Yu in front of him was not simple at all. If you underestimate the enemy, you will suffer the same loss as when you fought Sengoku. In just a short meeting, the two people exchanged distances between each other. All of this, those who were watching the battle in their respective worlds did not see it. There was no way. Brawly's speed was too fast, even beyond the speed of light, and ordinary people's eyes could not see it at all. And Yi Yu directly uses Conqueror's field. Within the scope of Conquerors, he can move to any field, and it is naturally difficult for people around him to see it. Strange, Mr. Kakashi, what happened just now? Those two scary guys, they actually exchanged places. Uzumaki Naruto shouted loudly. Kakashi opened his blood chakra eye but didn't see any clues. In the end, he just made a simple analysis. It seems that they must have used some space ninjutsu and switched places with each other. Even Uchiha Madara agreed with Kakashi's idea, but there was someone in the Hokage world who still saw a slight clue. That guy named Brawly doesn't seem to be using any spatial ninjutsu, but uses his powerful physical power to give people the feeling of teleportation. Sage of Six Paths said in shock. As soon as these words came out, everyone around them was completely dumbfounded. If what Sage of Six Paths said is true, then this guy named Brawly is too terrifying. It turns out that just by relying on his powerful body, he can use the illusion of teleportation. Is this person in front of him a demon? People in the pirate world have seen Yi use teleportation before, so they don't care at all that Yi Yu can move 1,000 meters away in an instant. But people were shocked by Brawly's abilities. Hawkeye's Mahawk's eyes radiate with light. Even my eyes didn't detect Brawly's movement trajectory. Could it be that Brawly, like Mr. Yi Yu, can move in space? Mahawk said worriedly. You know, you can move to any position at will during the battle, but it is a very tricky ability. Originally, Mahawk thought that Yi Yu could gain a little advantage through this ability of his, but now it seems that the enemy on the opposite side also knows this, which is not good news. It seems, this battle is going to become more difficult. In the world of One Punch Man, there were also fierce comments about the two of them. Emperor Tong took out his computer and looked at the battle in the sky, taking the lead in analyzing it. According to his computer data, it can be seen that Yi Yu has achieved spatial movement, but Lu Kui cannot analyze Brawly. The Tong Emperor took out the supercomputer directly, and then his expression became extremely strange. The Metal Knight and Atomic Warrior came to the Child Emperor, each of them showing suspicious expressions. The Atomic Warrior patted the Child Emperor directly on the shoulder and asked seriously. Did something weird happen, Child Emperor? The Child Emperor nodded his head heavily, with a serious look on his face, and spoke with a wry smile. According to my calculations, this guy named Brawly, his speed exceeds the speed of light. The Child Emperor swallowed his own saliva and said in a very exaggerated way. After saying this, the people around him all showed extremely incredible expressions. Are you kidding me? There are people who can surpass the speed of light without relying on ability, just relying on their own powerful body. The trembling Tatsumaki was the first to speak in shock. Yes, even if it is mechanical equipment, according to current technology, there is no machine that can reach the speed of light. Atomic Warrior said in shock. Tong Emperor is right. According to the analysis of this supercomputer, Tong Emperor's data analysis is correct. The Metal Knight also took out his computer to analyze the picture in front of him, and got exactly the same result as Tong Emperor. Data. After this sentence, the entire Hero Association members fell into silence again. The Universe Emperor Boros, who was in the sky, also opened his mouth in shock. There are actually people, someone's whose speed can exceed the speed of light. This terrifying speed is 10,000 times faster than the flying speed of our spaceship. How did that barbarian do it? Universe Emperor Boros looked shocked in his spaceship. When the members of Boros men heard Boros's exclamation, they all widened their eyes and looked at the guy Brawly who looked like a primitive man in the picture. It's unimaginable that a guy who looks so primitive can be so powerful in combat. On the battlefield, Brawly twisted his head and looked around Yi. I really didn't expect that this guy like you could actually know how to teleport. Brawly muttered, narrowing his eyes. Yi Yu smiled slightly, and teleportation was just the name of their world. This Brawly, he must have seen Son Goku's teleportation before he said this. Son Goku's teleportation allows him to move anywhere he wants, even if it is thousands of miles away, he can move there in an instant. There is a prerequisite for one's own teleportation, that is, it must be within the range of one's own conquerors. It sounds like Son Goku's teleportation is more powerful, but Son Goku's teleportation has a limit on the number of times it can be used and requires activation time. Within your own conqueror's domain, you don't need any activation time at all. You can move to any place instantly as soon as your thoughts arrive. Moreover, there is no limit on the number of times you can use it. In theory, as long as your conqueror's field exists, you can move an unlimited number of times. This point is what Brawly calls teleportation, where he can't catch up to him no matter what. In other words, Son Goku's teleportation is more like a large-scale displacement skill, while his own teleportation is more focused on combat. You can read more daily new novels on fictionzone.net. Both sites shared the same login details, so you don't need to sign up again. Chapter 243 Locking Conqueror's Realm. Secure Asset Portal, your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. Your speed is also very good, and you actually forced me to use Conqueror's Field. Yi Yu said lightly. It can be seen that facing such a terrifying opponent, Yi Yu's heart is still very calm, and there is no trace of fear because of the arrival of Brawly. This is what Yi Yu himself became after practicing Conquerors to the extreme. Reflection of psychological quality. Brawly clenched his fists and looked at Yi Yu with disdain. Boy, you just dodged my attack. There's nothing to be proud of. To tell you the truth, my combat power is much more terrifying than what you have seen so far. Brawly's eyes fired a red ray. With a bright light, he said coldly. Yi Yu could clearly sense that Brawly's kindness in his youth had been eliminated. Presumably his father should have been killed in another world. Only in this way can Brawly be greatly stimulated. Yeah, my fighting power is only the tip of the iceberg. Yi Yu responded in kind to Brawly. These words completely angered Brawly, and a series of attacks came out of Brawly's mouth again, with a large number of air bombs pouring down towards Yi Yu. In just a moment, Brawly spit out 100 air bombs that he had sprayed before. You must know that even one of the air bombs is enough to shake the world upside down. And Brawly, this guy, actually spit out so many key bombs this time. This scene directly shocked everyone in Guanzhou. The gods of the Valkyrie world all showed expressions of fear. That's it. Just this move. This move before destroyed our entire world. It's over, we're dead this time. In the final Valkyrie world, all kinds of gods have expressions of despair on their faces. The ninjas in the Hokage world, looking at the air bombs all over the sky, retreated involuntarily one by one. Even strong men like Sage of Six Paths and Uchiha Madara all widened their eyes, unable to believe what they were seeing. Even Yi Yu can't resist this terrifying fighting power. Uchiha Madara widened his eyes and said with a look of horror. After all, I had seen with my own eyes the power produced by the air bomb before. One of them could blow up most of Yi Yu's Conqueror's defensive shield. All of a sudden, this barbarian seemed to have been injected with some kind of chicken blood. He released so many air bombs at once. How could Yi Yu block it this time? Uchiha Madara, who valued Yoyu very much, no longer thinks highly of Yoyu this time. There is no way. Brawly's fighting power is really terrifying. In the world of One Punch Man, the trembling Tatsumaki, Genos, and Atomic Samurai all have exaggerated expressions. This Brawly, his body is so strong. How is this possible? Yeah, where does the source of his power come from? The Child Emperor and the Metal Knight were all completely dumbfounded. Brawley's energy had exceeded the calculation unit of their calculator, and finally the Child Emperor directly announced a conclusion that silenced everyone completely. Although it's impossible to measure how physically powerful Brawley is. But what I can be sure of is that he must have one blow. The power to destroy our entire planet in one blow. Cold sweat broke out on the Child Emperor's forehead, and he spoke directly to everyone. Even in the world of One Punch Man, the weirdos from all over the world and the universe Emperor Boros were looking at the live broadcast, and they were extremely shocked. The weirdos in the world of One Punch Man no longer have the arrogance they used to have. On the contrary, they now feel a huge sense of fear in their hearts. It felt like they were at risk of being massacred by Brawley at any time. The universe Emperor Boros felt as if he had overturned the 5-flavor bottle at this time, before he came before. I have been looking forward to meeting a stronger opponent than myself, which will make me excited. For this reason, I have been excited for several nights. But, when he really met an opponent stronger than himself, and found more than one, Boros became completely depressed again. Mainly because of these powerful characters, their combat power is much stronger than their own, and it can even be said that they can completely kill their own existence. This time, my wish came true, but the problem is that the opponent is so powerful and can kill me completely in an instant. I can't feel the fun of fighting at all. The only thing I can feel is the fear of fighting. Yes, this time Boros really realized what fear is, only the feeling of fear. If I had to choose, I would rather not have characters like Saitama, Yohane, and Brawley. As for the people in the pirate world, they saw the scene in front of them, and each one of them was sweating for Yi Yu. After all, Yi Yu is a character in their pirate world, and Yi Yu represents their pirate world. Kid, who was located near the red-haired pirates, looked at the disaster that Hawkins said. This time, the man who owned Conquerors actually fell directly to the ground. The other supernovas, psychological quality was not as good as Kid's. Each one of them looked terrified and kept swallowing their saliva like a stupid chicken. There are such terrifying guys in this world. If they fight in our pirate world, then aren't we doomed? Hira widened his eyes and said, swallowing his saliva. Kid was even more shocked. Yes, there is no doubt that our pirate world cannot withstand such a terrifying attack. Apu came to Hawkins tremblingly and spoke seriously to Hawkins. Hawkins, aren't you a guy who can predict the future? How will the final battle of this battle be? Hurry up and predict it for us. Apu roared loudly at Hawkins. Hawkins took out his cards, performed divination with his face and forehead, and then showed an incredible and shocked expression. What's wrong? People around asked in confusion. Then a terrifying scene occurred. Hawkins's divination card suddenly burned. Your card burned directly, Hawkins. What happened? Kid shouted loudly. This is the first time they have seen this situation like today. Have they ever seen Hawkins' card burn directly? Hawkins directly wiped the sweat on his forehead with his hand. That's because. Hawkins' lips kept trembling, as if he had seen something very terrifying. The grumpy kid grabbed Hawkins' collar with his hand and roared loudly at Hawkins. Because. Why? You should tell me. Because he was too scared of Brawley before, Kid lost control of his emotions this time. Hawkins swallowed a mouthful of saliva, his eyes dull. If my cards are burned by fire, it can only mean one thing, and that is that the fighting power of these two people is too powerful and has exceeded the range of my card calculations. Hawkins said. Kid was confused when he heard it. It exceeded the calculation range of your card. Is the calculation range of your cards so narrow? What do you mean? What is the calculation range of your cards? Apu, who plays the audio disc, also looked confused. Hawkins showed a wry smile and explained to everyone. Let me tell you this, if the combat power of a 4 emperors is 1, my card calculation unit is 1 million. Hawkins gritted his teeth and said seriously. Boom. At this moment, this sentence hit everyone's heads like a bolt from the blue. This means that the fighting and destructive power of these two people is equivalent to 1,000,000 4 emperors destroying the world. Just 1 4 emperors can dominate this sea. 1,000,000 4 emperors. Oh my god, doesn't that mean that either of them, Yi Yu and Brawley, can kill them instantly and penetrate their pirate world? On the battlefield, the battle was still continuing. Although Brawley's attack this time was very fierce. However, Yi Yu has his own Conqueror's field, and within this field, he is the master. 100 terrifying rounds of air bombs were fired one after another next to Yi Yu's cheek. Each one was just right, and Yi Yu could easily dodge it as long as he moved slightly. However, huge destruction occurred on this artificial planet. In an instant, the entire planet was filled with the energy of the air bombs that Yi Yu had avoided. Terrifying balls of energy caused violent explosions in various places in the world. Even if the time and space pendulum uses its terrifying power and uses the most terrifying defensive metal in the entire universe to create a planet, it is still unable to withstand Brawley's attack. Their defenses were as fragile as tofu in front of Brawley's air bombs. Boom 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 boom. Continuous explosions continued to sound, and the entire planet was completely shaking. The huge mountain peaks, which were made of steel and iron bones, were directly blown to pieces. The sea stopped and the sea turned into mulberry fields. In an instant, the entire planet was covered with thick smoke generated by the explosion. Noticing that Yi Yu had used teleportation again, Brawley had a serious expression on Yi Yu's heart. I take back what I said before. It seems like you have a lot of skills. But, I won't let you escape anymore. Brawley roared loudly. After he finished speaking, Brawly's hair stood on end because the energy was too strong. The next moment, Yi Yu's Conqueror's field was directly locked due to the energy released by Brawly. No matter where Yi Yu teleports, Brawly, this terrifying guy, can catch up. Yi Yu narrowed his eyes. My own Conqueror's field was actually captured by Brawly. I have to say that Brawly is definitely a genius. He saw through the scope of his Conqueror's field, so he also filled the entire field with his own aura. No matter where he went in an instant, Brawly, a savage guy, could easily find his traces and form a negative influence on himself. Lock the pursuit. Although it has not reached the speed of my own instant movement, it is still almost the same. You are really a terrifying beast. Yi Yusuoxing stopped his teleportation and praised Brawly. As for the people around them who were watching the battle, their vision was completely blank. There was no way around it. Whether it was Yi Yu's Conqueror's domain spatial displacement or Brawly's fierce pursuit, their speed was so fast that they didn't even leave a basic afterimage. Everyone was surprised. Where did these two guys, Yi Yu and Brawly, go? That's weird. Did these two guys just disappear? Genos looked shocked. It's not disappearing. The speed of these two people is so fast that we can't even detect their existence. Bang Ji Yu said seriously. The people around him swallowed their saliva one by one, because the speed was so fast that even their eyes could not catch it. People like Sage of Six Paths, Sasuke, and Uchiha Madara in the Hokage world used all chakra on their eyes, and they were able to barely capture the shadows of Yi Yu and Brawly fighting in the sky. He is really a terrifying guy. I can't even capture the figure of this guy. Sage of Six Paths opened his eyes wide and said with surprise. It's just that his power is not as strong as Yi Yu and Brawly. He really didn't expect that he couldn't even capture their figures. I have opened the reincarnation eye. Unexpectedly, even my fully charged samsara eye could only catch the slightest trace of their figures. Uchiha Madara also feels the same way. The speed of these two guys is really terrifying. It's really unimaginable that someone can really escape the blood wheel eye and the reincarnation eye. Uchiha Madara said seriously. Yes, isn't this even more terrifying? What's even more terrifying is that Yi Yu and Brawly are in the sky right now. It's harder for them to catch their opponents than us. On the one hand, these two people maintain extremely high speed, and on the other hand, they also need to observe the enemy's position through their own eyes. They are much more difficult than us. Sage of Six Paths explained. After hearing Sage of Six Paths' explanation, Uchiha Madara once again showed an extremely shocked expression towards the two people in the battle. On the battlefield, Yi Yu saw that no matter how his Conqueror's field moved, Brawly could rush over and gave up the idea. Brawly, you are really powerful. Even I, Yi Yu, need to let you see my true strength. Yi Yu said to Brawly. Before the next moment, his eyes were still lazy, but in an instant he became very serious and serious. Conquerors all over the sky suddenly appeared, and the entire sky was filled with strange purple lightning. Under the huge wind, even the forest was uprooted by Yi Yu's Conqueror's domineering power. Space exploded, and pitch-black space-time gaps appeared from the artificial planet where Yi Yu was. The entire sea began to have rough waves, and the earth continued to tremble. Chapter 244 Conqueror's Transformation into Devil Fruit Bomb. Looking at the changes in the sky, a smile appeared on Brawly's lips. Ha ha ha, I didn't expect that you, a kid, don't just know how to escape. It actually caused strange changes in the world. Even because your power was too strong, you even created gaps in time and space. Your current power is quite similar to a guy named Vegeta in our world, but it's a pity. When I fought with him, I quickly surpassed him and killed that arrogant guy. Brawly said as he looked at Yi Yu with a smile. Same. Facing the powerful energy released by Yi Yu, Brawly did not show any horrified look. Facing Yi Yu, Brawly now regards Yi Yu more as a competitor and wants to play with Yi Yu. After hearing Brawly's words, Yi Yu also curled his lips. Is that guy Vegeta? With Brawly's potential, Vegeta should be the first opponent he defeats, and it won't take long, just a few battles. You're too impatient, Brawly, the fun is yet to come. Yi Yu said with a smile. After he obtained infinite conquerors, he was no longer the Yi Yu who could only defeat I Am in the pirate world. Relying on his powerful system, Yi Yu now obtained infinite conquerors and became stronger every moment with every breath. He defeated so many opponents and received a lot of rewards from the system. To be honest, in the previous battles, even One Punch Man Saitama, I was just fighting them for fun and did not use my true power. I don't know, have you noticed the sky? Brawly. Yi Yu shouted loudly to Brawly. Brawly then looked towards the sky, and then narrowed his eyes slightly. I saw that the entire sky was instantly filled with various conquerors' giant balls. They have different shapes and have their own unique abilities, forming a perfect fusion with Yi Yu's conquerors. After people in the pirate world saw it, they all showed shocked eyes. White-bearded Edward Newgate looked at the picture, his eyes widened, and he kept swallowing saliva. Look, that pattern. Whitebeard said in shock, his expression extremely exaggerated. Even compared to seeing the fight between Yi Yu and Brawly, the expressions were even more exaggerated. After being reminded, the people around them looked to the sky one by one. As for Marine, General Aokiji and General Kizaru saw the scene in the sky and were instantly confused. FK blurted out. Isn't this the pattern of a devil fruit? The shining fruit I ate back then looked like this. Kizaru said very seriously. Only when the fruit's ability is developed to the extreme can a certain fruit's ability be transformed into the body or somewhere. Even Kizaru himself admitted that although he had been developing the shining fruit for so long, he had not seen any patterns at all. And this guy Yi Yu, majoring in conquerors, can actually use his own shining fruit. Being able to practice to such a state of complete development, Kizaru has to admire him. Compared with Yi Yu's qualifications, I'm still too dull. In fact, Kizaru's qualifications can definitely be ranked first among the 3 generals, but this guy usually neglects training. When Akainu and Aokiji are training, he is fishing. Therefore, my strength is not as strong as Akainu's, but my talent is definitely much stronger than Akainu's. General Aokiji on the side, his expression at this time was no less exaggerated than General Kizaru. That white energy ball in the sky froze the air with a radius of 10,000 kilometers into dry ice. Isn't the pattern marked on that ball the pattern of my own frozen fruit? No, it's not just the pattern. Aokiji suddenly discovered that those conquerors' energy groups in the sky were also combined with devil fruit abilities. They not only had devil fruit patterns on their bodies. Their own body shape gradually improved, and their final appearance turned out to be a huge devil fruit. Just like the huge frozen conquerors in the sky, it looks exactly like the frozen fruit I ate back then. Yi Yu, this guy is really terrifying. In this case, it is really possible to defeat that barbarian Brawly. Aokiji said excitedly to the sky. Other people, Marco, Whitebeard and others all found their corresponding devil fruit abilities in the sky. They were all surprised that Yi Yu could transform into such a shape. Is it such a terrifying power? According to rumors, the person who can transform this devil fruit pattern is the man who has developed the devil fruit to the extreme. And Yi Yu not only developed his devil fruit abilities to the extreme, he also integrated his invincible conquerors with his own devil fruit abilities to the extreme. With such terrifying fighting power, even if Brawly is a killer in the 2-dimensional world, he may not be able to pass Yi Yu's level. People in the pirate world looked at the picture above their heads one by one, excited, discussing. At this time, Brawly also showed a horrified look. Although he didn't understand the devil fruit abilities in the pirate world, his superb control of chi could be seen at once, and the masses in the sky above his head. The energy group is not simple. What a terrible smell, you guy. Brawly said excitedly. Even Vegeta in their world may not be able to create this kind of terrifying combat power. It seems that Yi Yu's strength has reached the level of Kakarot. When I massacred Kakarot, it took a lot of trouble. I didn't expect that on this weak planet, I could meet a strong man comparable to Kakarot. It seems that my journey of killing in the 2nd dimension was very wise. Seeing the terrifying aura in the sky, Brawly didn't have the slightest fear and charged directly into the sky. A large amount of flame gas also emitted directly from behind Brawly. In just an instant, Brawly successfully reached the sky. Brawly's fist contained a large amount of gas energy, sending waves of bombardment towards the sky. Various gas bombs are fired from Brawly's arms. But at this time, Saitama gradually woke up in the ruins. Saitama, who had just woken up, directly touched his forehead. It was really unbelievable that he would be beaten by a barbarian and his whole body would be shattered with fractures. Saitama clenched his fists and muttered to himself. But, fortunately, thanks to that guy, I broke through the limiter again. Saitama said with a slightly raised corner of his mouth. This experience of resurrection from the dead has once again made a qualitative leap in Saitama's own combat effectiveness. Saitama was thinking about showing Brawly how powerful he was, when he saw a scene in the sky. When Saitama saw the 7 huge conquerors' devil fruit energy balls released by Yohane in the sky, Saitama was completely silent. Is this still a human being? Saitama said with trembling lips. These giant conquerors' devil fruit energy balls are completely different from the conquerors' devil fruit energy balls that he felt when he fought Yi Yu before. As a strong man, Saitama still has the most basic judgment. Not only are their bodies much larger than before, but what's even more terrifying is that these conquerors' energy giant balls contain all kinds of weird abilities. At this time, Saitama also saw Brawly shouting and attacking the giant ball. Saitama instantly felt his scalp numb. These 2 scary guys, one is really crazier than the other. Even with my current strength, facing the 7 giant balls above my head, I still have to choose to dodge. That guy Brawly actually rushed forward. Saitama said in disbelief. At the same time, Saitama felt a sense of powerlessness. He originally thought that he would break through the limiter this time and perform well, but he found that his strength was still far behind. In the place of battle, above the sky, Brawly shouted. Shock waves were emitted from Brawly's body. Each of these shock waves was like a super light missile, tearing apart space-time gaps one after another in the air. Yi Yu also spoke plausibly. 7 stars collide. This is the name Yi Yu gave to his move. 7 huge conquerors' giant balls were arranged in a line, and they collided with the shock wave released by Brawly. Boom, boom. In the blink of an eye, the entire sky was blooming everywhere, and colorful lights covered the entire ground in just a blink of an eye. Even Saitama, the bald devil in the world of One Punch Man, had to cover his eyes at this time. There is no way, the light in the sky is too dazzling. Immediately afterwards, the energy fragments generated by various collisions began to fall crazily towards the surroundings. Saitama, who was in front of the ground, had to start avoiding the energy fragments generated by Yohane and Brawly due to the battle between the 2. Saitama, who was above the ground, kept jumping left and right, but his surrounding environment had undergone earth-shaking changes. Saitama frowned. You must know that this brand new planet created by the pendulum of time and space has already been tested by himself. Back then, the reaction force generated by a powerful jump was just a small hole on the ground. I didn't expect that any one of Yi Yu's Conqueror's fragments could have such a huge impact on the surrounding environment. Seeing the surrounding environment, even a small energy fragment of only 1 decimeter is enough to blow these places to pieces. Saitama kept dodging on the ground, and even a Conqueror's and air bomb fragments exploded directly at Saitama's feet, and then Saitama was directly blown away for several hundred meters. Saitama is completely messed up. I have broken through the limiter 3 times today. Why do I still feel that the gap is so huge when facing 2 people in the sky? Saitama, who was shocked in his heart, decided not to fight. Take a good look at him here, doesn't he smell good? I saw, above the entire sky, Brawly rushed directly in front of Yi Yu. Qigong wave, Brawly shouted loudly, condensing chi bombs in his hands, and hit Yi Yu's Conqueror's defensive shield hard. Only a loud bang was heard, and Yi Yu's Conqueror's defensive shield was directly shattered by Brawly. Then he punched Yi Yu hard on the head. With a bang, a powerful force exploded within a centimeter of Yi Yu's body, and Yi Yu's Conqueror's armor was directly shattered. But Yi Yu also got a chance to breathe. Brawly's expression was serious, and he didn't expect that his full blow while in the giant ape's power state only shattered Yi Yu's Conqueror's armor. The next moment, a huge Conqueror's giant palm covered the entire sky and grabbed Brawly hard. After seeing this, Brawly retreated quickly, but at this time, he found that 2 mysterious forces grabbed his legs. Brawly looked behind him and immediately knew what was going on. I really didn't expect that this guy, actually hid so much energy in the explosion just now. Brawly murmured. It turned out that some of the frozen fragments were directly controlled by Yi Yu's Conquerors and were hidden in the air. Just after Brawly broke through his Conqueror's armor, while Brawly was distracted, 2 strands of ice force directly froze Brawly's legs. When Yi Yu's ice power came into contact with Brawly's legs, it was only for a moment. Brawly's legs were frozen into ice sculptures. Brawly was directly restrained in the air, and in front of Brawly, a huge palm struck Brawly heavily, blocking out the sky and the sun. Facing Yi Yu's Conqueror's giant fist, Brawly roared, directly held his fist and struck it hard. Brawly directly used this most primitive method to face Yi Yu's Conqueror's giant palm. With a bang, Yi Yu's Conqueror's giant palm and Conqueror's fragments began to scatter around. This scene made everyone in the pirate world feel numb after seeing it. That's right, that was the Conquerors who even I didn't dare to take on. I didn't expect that, Brawly, this guy, would actually take over with his own flesh and blood. Cyborg Kong in Marine said in great shock. The battle between Yi Yu and Yi Mu is still vivid in his mind. It shocked him greatly at the beginning. I didn't expect that this guy named Brawly would be so physically strong. He is indeed a barbarian, a guy even more ferocious than a beast. Garp clenched his fists and murmured. Warring States narrowed his eyes, and now, the development of things has completely exceeded his imagination. No one would have thought that the enemies Yi Yu faced would be so terrifying. The red-haired Shanks also saw this scene and couldn't calm down for a long time. That's a Conquerors that can attack in a substantial way. Its attack power is more terrifying than the Sea Tower Stone in this world. This guy chooses to attack hard, said the red-haired Shanks incredulously. At the same time, the entire red-haired pirate group was becoming more and more worried about Yi Yu. In the Hokage world, Kai looked at Brawly, a beast, and was extremely shocked. Also in terms of physical strength, Brawly never expected that the physical strength that he had to sacrifice his life to obtain could be achieved so effortlessly. Chapter 245 Forcing Brawly to transform into Super Saiyan. In the world of One Punch Man, Genos's face became very ugly. I originally thought that in terms of physical strength, my teacher Saitama was the strongest, but I didn't expect that Brawly was 100 times more powerful than Saitama. If anyone can defeat Brawly, he will definitely be the most powerful person in each 2-dimensional world, and this person is most likely Yi Yu. After Genos thought of this, he locked his eyes on Yi Yu, hoping that Yi Yu could win the final victory. Is this all you have? Yi Yu. After doing all this, Brawly was very excited. It could be seen that the fun of fighting in Brawly had already appeared at this time. It's not over yet, Brawly. I just wanted to restrict your actions. The real show is yet to come. Yi Yu rarely showed his face to Brawly. A smile. Brawly narrowed his eyes and could feel that Yi Yu's attack this time was not simple. Shenra Tianzheng. Yi Yu stretched out his hands and shouted loudly, and the conquerors instantly rushed towards Yi Yu's surroundings. Under the strong air pressure, the surrounding space is directly deformed. Brawly noticed the power of this attack and widened his eyes, looking incredulous. How is this possible? Brawly roared loudly. The powerful conquerors, under the pressure of the explosion, formed a strong air pressure, and Brawly could feel as if his body was being crushed. He subconsciously activated his breath and dodge, but unexpectedly found that his feet were restrained by Yi Yu, and the freezing power still did not subside. Damn guy. Brawly was shocked inside, but he had no way to dodge now. He could only put his hands on his chest and make a defensive move. Boom. The entire planet trembled, and the rocks, seas, and forests on the entire planet were directly shaken and flew into the sky. Saitama, who was on this planet, had just stabilized his figure, but this time he was directly shot into the sky. Above the sky, cold sweat broke out on Saitama's forehead. Looking at everything around me, I can't believe that the scene in front of me that looks like a natural disaster is actually man-made. Yi Yu's attack actually left the world's most defensive artificial planet riddled with holes. Boom. Immediately afterwards, the terrifying conquerors generated by Yiyyu's conquerors Shinra Tenseng directly impacted Saitama's body. Feeling such a terrifying attack, Saitama's eyes turned white instantly. FK. It's broken again. Saitama said with a bitter smile as he bit his teeth and said with a black line on his forehead. Genos, who was in the world of One Punch Man, saw this scene and opened his mouth wide. Teacher is still on that planet. It won't be affected to death. Genos said very worriedly. It looks very funny. You know, Genos has always regarded Saitama as a hero and believes that Saitama's fighting power is unmatched. But this time, he actually said that teacher Saitama would be affected by the aftermath and die. There is no way, the power shown by Yiyuu and Brawly is too powerful. Facing these two people, even Genos had doubts about his idol Saitama-sensei. These two people are too powerful. The faces of other Hero Association members are not much better than Genos. Is this Yiyuu still a human being? With one move, he can shake the entire planet. Bang Ji-Yu said in disbelief. The planet where Yiyuu is located is 10 times heavier than the planet in the world of One Punch Man. Because it is made of special raw materials, its defense is hundreds of times stronger. If this were a normal planet, it would have been turned into powder by Yiyuu's terrifying blow. People in the Hokage world, Uzumaki Naruto opened his mouth in a European shape and kept swallowing his saliva. Isn't this too scary? With such a terrifying attack, even the guy named Brawly would probably be killed on the spot. Uzumaki Naruto said excitedly as he looked at everything in front of him. Akai's eyes widened. Yiyuu's move was thousands of times stronger than the 8 Gates armor he had unleashed. That Brawly guy, no matter how strong his body is, he may not be able to withstand Yiyuu's attack. Even Uchiha Madara swallowed his own saliva and recalled the previous battle with Yiyuu. Yes, I know how powerful Yiyuu is. I used to doubt that Yiyuu couldn't defeat that barbarian, but now it seems that I am worrying too much. When Yiyuu fought with me before, he didn't use all his strength at all. Uchiha Madara said excitedly. Sage of Six Paths was even more excited. With his samsara eye, he could tell that the defense of the planet Yiyuu was fighting was terrifying. With such a huge power, even our Hokage world will probably be easily destroyed by him. An ordinary human being can actually destroy our planet with one blow. It's terrible. He is the most terrifying guy the first have ever seen in my life. Sage of Six Paths said in shock. In the pirate world, Marco immediately exclaimed. Oh my god, I didn't expect that this guy Yiyuu's strength could be so terrifying. Marco said excitedly. Diamond Josie also came over. Yes, this guy Yiyuu must have been hiding it. He never took that barbarian Brawly to heart from the beginning, ha ha ha. Diamond Josie laughed heartily. White-bearded Edward Newgate and Golden Lion Shiki even showed proud eyes. Ha ha ha, Yiyuu, you boy, you are really capable of being so terrifying. Whitebeard Edward Newgate said with a laugh. The Golden Lion Shiki on the side was even more excited, and happily came to the old man Zeus. How about it, you old guy, you were scared like a bird when you saw Brawly before. Now you see how terrifying our pirate world is. Shiki, the Golden Lion, pointed at Zeus and cursed loudly. Old man Zeus was covering his head with his hands before, so he didn't see the scene in the sky. When he heard the Golden Lion's voice, he felt doubtful in his heart. Could it be that Brawly couldn't beat a brat from their pirate world? This is impossible, it's too unscientific. But being pointed at by the Golden Lion, old man Zeus still looked at the sky image. Then he saw the devastating blow released by Yiyuu in the sky. After seeing this scene, old man Zeus suddenly lost his composure. His eyes widened directly, his lips began to tremble. As this, a joke. The people in the pirate world are actually so strong. The intensity of this horrific disaster has surpassed Brawly. Old Zeus exclaimed with a look of surprise on his face. In other Valkyrie worlds at the end, as well as people in other worlds, after hearing the howl of old man Zeus, they all looked to the sky, and then they became uneasy, just like old man Zeus. No matter how they imagined it, they couldn't imagine that there could be such a powerful human being who could destroy the world at will, and it seemed that this terrifying destructive power was even greater than Brawly's. Fear. So all the people and gods were completely stunned. On the battlefield, Brawly was directly caught by Yiyuu's impact, and fell from the sky quickly like a kite with its string broken. The powerful impact directly shattered the bones in Brawly's arm. After Brawly fell into the earth, due to the strong inertia, he penetrated the earth's crust and penetrated all the way. When Brawly penetrated the ground, he kept shouting. The powerful impact caused him a lot of damage. In the end, Brawly was directly driven into the earth's crust, and a large amount of volcanic magma kept pouring out. Devouring Brawly, it kept making sizzling sounds from Brawly's body. After all this was done, the peace of the past returned to the surface of the entire artificial planet. All this, people around were stunned. Old man Zeus wiped the corners of his eyes with a look of disbelief on his face. As this, all true. Yiyuu, did you really defeat that arrogant Brawly? Old man Zeus said in shock. The terrifying feeling Brawly gave him back then. I can still remember it vividly. Now this Brawly, to actually lose to a kid from the pirate world. But, the two old men, Whitebeard and Golden Lion, beat me up just now. I am a god. Presumably, the people in the pirate world are indeed extremely powerful. Because Yi Yu was powerful in the past, Yi Yu's fighting power also invisibly enhanced the image of the pirate world in everyone's mind. After all, the Golden Lion and the Whitebeard just now were able to instantly kill the god Zeus, the king of gods. Zeus directly regarded these two old men as ordinary old people in the pirate world. There was excitement on the faces of Golden Lion and Whitebeard. In the end, Yi Yu won, the final victory. Kaido and Big Mom also looked at the sky, both of them were very excited. I saw it, Kaido and Yi Yu actually won. Charlotte Linlin said excitedly. Kaido, on the other hand, pretended to be calm. I've said it a long time ago, Linlin, no one in this world can defeat Yi Yu, and no one in other worlds can defeat Yi Yu. Kaido of the Beast said excitedly. As for Marine, everyone was swallowing their own saliva. Yi Yu, has always been so powerful. No matter what kind of enemy he faces, Yi Yu can win the final victory in the end. In the world of One Punch Man, people around him saw Brawley being penetrated tens of thousands of meters into the deep crust, and they all held their breath completely. Isn't this too scary? Yi Yu actually did it. Yi Yu actually defeated Brawley, who almost massacred the entire two-dimensional world. Metal Knight said in surprise. I have calculated Brawley's combat power through a computer, and it's completely geometric. Unexpectedly, Yi Yu's combat power would be even more powerful than Brawley. Genos was also extremely shocked. Knowing that his idol Saitama-sensei was instantly killed in front of Brawley with one move, one can only imagine how powerful Brawley's fighting power is. And Yi Yu, this guy was able to tame Brawley's beast. Genos simply took a breath of cold air. Yi Yu's fighting power was beyond his imagination. Bangu, Shivering Tatsumaki, and other top heroes in the Heroes Association all worshipped them thoroughly. Anyone can see that if Brawley wins this game, their fate will definitely be very tragic. And Yi Yu actually defeated that Brawley. They all breathed a sigh of relief in their hearts. At least Yi Yu seemed to be very kind. In a sense, Yi Yu saved them. In the Hokage world, Jarhead Akai stood in awe of Yi Yu. Brawley's combat power was equivalent to tens of thousands of his own powers to activate the final gate of death in 8 Gates armor. However, when Brawley faced Yi Yu, and finally failed. From this, we can deduce how terrifying Yi Yu's own fighting power is. Sage of Six Paths also looked shocked. Even though he was an immortal, he was saved by mortal in the end. Uchiha Madara laughed arrogantly and transformed into Yi Yu's little fanboy again. Ha 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 ha, I knew that Yi Yu must be the strongest. Being able to defeat me, Uchiha Madara, is enough to show how powerful Yi Yu is. Uchiha Madara said proudly. And this directly aroused the contempt of other people. Uchiha Madara is so powerful after beating you. It sounds like you are so powerful. The problem is, who among everyone here can't beat Yi Yu? Just when everyone was laughing happily, thinking that Yi Yu had achieved his victory. At the place of battle, the entire land began to tremble again. Earthquakes occurred directly on the entire planet, and the soil above the surface cracked one after another. Everyone watching all this was shocked again, wouldn't it be? They were all pushed into the bottomless crust of the earth, and this guy Brawley actually stood up again. Everyone's faces began to turn pale. They never thought that Brawley's fighting power would be so strong. Yi Yu was flying in the air, looking at all this, with a very calm expression on his face. He came from that world. Why don't they understand the power of their Super Saiyans? Brawley, but he hasn't transformed yet. Even if he killed all the kings, he said that Brawley only had this level of skill, but he didn't believe it. Sure enough, within the entire Earth's crust, terrifying energy sounds were constantly emitted, and Brawley's shouting voice came over again. A yellow light erupted directly from the ground, golden light bloomed on Brawley's body, and his hair stood up directly. The muscles on the body have swelled to an extreme. The body looks stronger and taller than before, and the whole body is full of violent aura. After the transformation, his hair and eyebrows turned golden, his pupils disappeared, he was irrational, and his strength achieved a qualitative leap. Under the strange phenomenon of heaven and earth, golden lightning appeared one after another in the sky. Yi Yu was slightly solemn. He had seen this form on TV before. In this terrifying form, even Super Blue Sengoku, Super Blue Vegeta, and Golden Frieza were no match for him. It's enough to show how terrifying Brawley's fighting power is. Chapter 246 Immortality Conquerors. Secure Asset Portal, your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. Boom. With a huge roar, Brawley stepped on the air behind him and attacked Yi Yu again. As compensation for pleasing me. Give this back to you. Brawley roared loudly. Explosive meteor. Brawley shouted loudly. I saw that the entire sky was instantly filled with various air bombs. These air bombs directly filled the entire sky and bombarded Yi Yu heavily. A terrifying sense of oppression filled the entire world in an instant. It seemed like Brawley's fighting prowess had just begun to show off to Yi Yu. Even if you don't want to have a good fight, you won't be able to do it. Forget it, after defeating this guy Brawley, you can enjoy the days when no one will challenge you again. Thinking of this, Yi Yu felt a little more motivated. The Conqueror's defensive shield on the body separates a part of the Conqueror's. Although the Conqueror's has all-round protection, it can be easily defeated when facing a terrifying guy like Brawley. So Yi Yu directly integrated the ability of the Phoenix into Conquerors, forming the Immortal Conquerors. Then Yi Yu opened his palms directly and shouted at Brawley. Then let us see who is more powerful before us. Conqueror's shield, Yi Yu said loudly. After saying that, a shield formed by the immortal conquerors formed directly in front of Yi Yu. He stood directly in front of Yi himself. Facing Brawly's Super Saiyan form, Yi Yu must show his true ability, which combines the immortal conquerors and the conqueror's shield with the ability of the immortal bird. This trump card was directly defeated by Yi Yu. Take it out. The huge shield frightened Brawly. This was the conqueror's shield formed by Yi Yu taking out all the conqueror's defensive shields. Yi Yu's own defense is completely left to conqueror's armor. Although the range is small, only 1 centimeter around the body, it can have a more defensive effect than Conqueror's defensive cover. After Brawly transformed into a Super Sage, his energy suddenly increased dozens of times. His air bomb directly collided with Yi Yu's Conqueror's defensive shield in the sky. For an instant, the entire sky seemed to have been exploded. There were still white clouds in the sky just now, but now behind Yi Yu, there were no clouds at all. The reason why these clouds disappeared was entirely because of 2 people. The aftermath of the collision was really too terrifying. The aftermath alone blasted a big hole out of the clouds in the sky. Various energies exploded in the sky, and Yi Yu's Conqueror's defensive shield directly shattered when it came into contact with Brawly's dense air bombs. However, something unexpected happened to Brawly, that is, Yi Yu's Conqueror's defensive shield was saved again by a mysterious force at the moment it was shattered. Just in the moment of shattering, the next moment, Yi Yu's Conqueror's defensive shield merged again. There was no essential difference from the previous Conqueror's defensive shield. The people who were watching the battle all looked at each other in astonishment. Just now, Brawly's own energy has been strengthened like never before, and many people can still see this. The Sage of 6 Paths in the Hokage world, through their own reincarnation eyes, noticed that Brawly's combat power was dozens of times stronger than before after his transformation. I originally thought that Yi Yu would definitely lose this time. But he didn't expect that Yi Yu still possessed such a magical weapon. This is countless times more powerful than my own immortal weapon. The extremely thick and endless defensive power appeared in the reincarnation eyes of Sage of 6 Paths. In the pirate world, Marco jumped excitedly. This Conqueror's shield, I remember using it when I was fighting I.M. I really didn't expect that it would be so powerful now, Marco said excitedly. When he fought I.M., he only used gold conquerors. Now Yi Yu has infinite conquerors. Coupled with Marco's Phoenix ability, it has achieved perfect and absolute defense. A more terrifying defensive ability appears than the Conqueror's defensive shield that Yi Yu relied on before. Whitebeard, Golden Lion and other old men also showed smiles. They could feel that Yi Yu's Conqueror's shield could withstand all attacks in the world. What about the scary guy? You are even more powerful than Sengoku from my world. Yi Yu's terrifying defense made Brawly unconsciously recall Sengoku who was once in his own world. And Yi Yu's own conquerors has been growing since he participated in the duel, becoming stronger with every breath. So facing Super Saiyan Brawly, Yi Yu didn't completely care, but Brawly, this guy, actually massacred the entire Dragon Ball world. Then it must be certain that Brawly must have mastered some new form. This is the scariest thing. Regarding Brawly's latest form, Yi Yu couldn't imagine that it might destroy the entire galaxy. He is the Demon King who emerged from the Dragon Ball world. Yi Yu smiled slightly and kept gesticulating with his fingers. The next moment, in the entire sky, the conquerors produced by Yi Yu's previous conqueror's shield condensed again and became a spear. The entire spear was lifelike, with the power of lightning exuding all over the body. Thunder and lightning strikes struck the top, and the entire conqueror's spear glowed from time to time. Conqueror's spear has appeared, with the intention of Overlord, filling the whole world in an instant. Brawly, who was above the ground, saw the conqueror's spear above his head and opened his mouth wide. It's so scary. Just the faint aura it emits can make everything in this world bow its head. It's really domineering, Brawly said in shock and appreciation. This conqueror's spear has appeared, and the entire two-dimensional world, and the people watching the battle at this time, have a feeling of terror in their hearts for no reason. The expressions of the heroes in the world of One Punch Man changed one by one, and this sense of unreasonable oppression swept through their bodies instantly. What's going on? This sense of fear and oppression. Bang Ji-yu said in shock. I have experienced this feeling before, but that was all 40 years ago. At that time, I was new to martial arts, and I met a martial arts master. It was that person who brought this kind of feeling to me at that time. A sense of terror and oppression. After so many years, I have long since become a martial arts master from a fledgling rookie, and with it, I have never encountered the feeling of oppression caused by others before. But he didn't expect that Yi Yu's conqueror's spear would bring such a heavy and terrifying sense of oppression to him today. It would be fine if Yi Yu was by his side, but this guy Yi Yu was thousands of miles away. Such a long distance can actually bring me such terrifying pressure. Could it be that Yi Yu is a more terrifying guy than Brawly? Bangu murmured. The surrounding heroes of the Hero Association such as Tongdi, Tatsumaki, Atomic Samurai, etc., their inner shock at this time would not be lower than that of Yi Bangu. Bang Ji-yu is still a martial arts master at the very least. At such an old age, he has gone through so much experience that his heart is already calm. The level of surprise in the hearts of other people will only be stronger than that of Bang Ji-yu. Even the Weird Association and the ninja organization in the world of One Punch Man were all shocked beyond measure. Looking at the oppressive conqueror's spear in the picture, it seems like it can penetrate everything in the world. In the Hokage world, Onoki opened his mouth in excitement. I have always thought that my dust style is the most powerful attack method in the world, but when Yu used his Conqueror's spear, Onoki was instantly confused. His dust style was not invincible. There were many things that he could not penetrate, but Yu's Conqueror's spear could penetrate everything in this world. Uzumaki Naruto, Uchiha Sasuke, Kakashi and others also kept swallowing their saliva. They have already felt the strong sense of oppression. It's really unimaginable that this Yu's combat power can be so terrifying. This is still a battle on another artificial planet. If it were fought in our world, I'm afraid that under the influence, all the ninjas in the entire Hokage world, and all the defense ninjutsu, will not be able to withstand such a terrifying attack. Kakashi swallowed his own saliva and said in shock. Yes, Kakashi, there is no doubt about it. Fourth Hokage said to Kakashi. On the battlefield, the Conqueror's spear exuded a cold chill, exuding an icy aura, and rushed towards Broly without fail. So fast. Broly shouted subconsciously. Broly's expression suddenly changed. He didn't expect that he would feel so terrifying after turning on the Super Saiyan form. Roar. Super Saiyan Broly roared loudly, and the next moment, the Saiyan aura on his body suddenly expanded several times again. Balls of energy condensed between Broly's hands. Under the terrifying aura, a human ape figure vaguely appeared around Super Saiyan Broly's body. Yu naturally noticed this. In the theatrical version, I didn't see Broly's scene. I think this guy's ability to defeat all kings in the end has a lot to do with it. Zeus, who was in the pirate world, saw Broly and the phantom of the ape looming around him. His legs and feet became weak in fear, and he started to cry again. It's over, I said before, that guy Broly is scary, he's invincible. Yu is no match for him at all. We are going to be doomed now. Zeus said in horror. You guy, why don't you remember to hit me? Please be quiet. The golden lion Shiki, holding a cigarette in his mouth, roared loudly at Zeus. The next moment, the upset golden lion directly activated his ability and threw old Zeus directly into the sea. The surrounding environment instantly became quiet. Whitebeard, what do you think of this battle? Golden Lion said anxiously to Whitebeard. Whitebeard also frowned. Looking at it now, that guy Broly is not a human at all, he is a demon. Whitebeard said seriously. This battle is a contest between gods and demons. Mihawk murmured with his eyes shining. The atmosphere among people in the entire pirate world was extremely solemn. In the world of One Punch Man, all the heroes, weirdos, ordinary humans, and ninjas in the world watched this terrifying battle in a daze. The collision of the strongest and the strongest. The Child Emperor said incredulously. Previously, because I wanted to calculate the current combat situation, my computer burned down. Daguji, Dashen and others in the Weird Association all showed frightened expressions. Whatever the situation, whatever the request, that Broly is the most perfect weirdo, compared to him, we are all scum. Gum said in horror. The King Orochi she created, in front of Yu and Broly. Before, it was absolutely vulnerable. The mysterious ninja organization, when they saw the battle between Yu and Broly, one by one fell to their knees on the ground. In their hearts, this is a battle between the ninja god and the devil. At the same time, each of them began to speak strange languages, hoping that Yu would win in the end. On the battlefield, the energy Broly had condensed before gradually shone with dazzling light. Shigung wave. Broly shouted loudly. In an instant, a terrifying air bomb was emitted directly from Broly's body. Like a nuclear bomb, it hit Yu's Conqueror's gun in the sky. There was a loud bang, a sound that shook the world. Centered on Yu and Broly, two terrifying and powerful god-tier mysterious forces collide. A circular collision arc directly impacted the surrounding areas. This aftermath is the result of the fusion of Yu's Conquerors and Brahman's demonic aura. It can be said that God will kill God if he blocks it, and Buddha will kill Buddha if he blocks it. In an instant, he shuttled between the whole world without any obstruction. Before part of the force hit the ground, the entire planet began to tremble, and the ground began to collapse instantly. A huge crack was formed directly on the artificial planet. This crack was bottomless, and the fiery red magma in the Earth's crust could be vaguely seen. Looking from the outside of the entire artificial planet, it can be clearly seen that the entire planet has formed a huge crack, and the entire planet is injured. Part of the power directly impacted into the sky. The size of the entire artificial planet was comparable to a huge star, but because of the aftermath, the entire sky was directly divided into two halves. The surrounding air became manic and restless under the impact of this terrible aftermath, and dozens of strong winds were blowing wantonly. Even huge mountains were uprooted by this strange wind. It was extremely terrifying, like the end of the world. There were two parts of the energy aftermath that directly impacted Yu and Broly. Chapter 247 Saitama. I'm so weak. The Conqueror's armor on Yu's body emitted a dazzling light. The energy contained the aftermath of Conquerors, which was directly absorbed by Yu's Conqueror's armor. The beast's demonic energy released by Broly was blocked by Conqueror's armor. Although he was blocked, Yu could still clearly feel the terrifying destructive power of this magic. There was also a part of the aftermath that hit Broly. Broly didn't seem as calm as Yu. Broly, who was hit by the aftermath, was like a ferocious beast, grabbing something randomly. But in this chaos, a huge aura was formed. The huge aura directly relieved a lot of the power generated by the aftermath. Coupled with Broly's strong physical strength, when he retreated a full 2,000 meters, Broly directly withstood the aftermath and the damage caused to himself. However, Broly's own physical condition was not good. He had no choice but to do so. He was different from Yu. Yi Yu had Conqueror's armor, but he could bear it with his flesh and blood. After enduring this horrific injury, Brawly's clothes now looked in tatters. Coupled with Brawly's messy hairstyle, he really looked more and more like a primitive man. Not only on his clothes, but also on Brawly's body, there were scars one after another due to the aftermath, and blue blood flowed directly from Brawly's arms. Brawly saw his current situation and became extremely irritable. Damn it! Brawly's hands kept hitting the ground, and terrifying potholes appeared on the ground instantly. You be asterisk 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 D, you can actually make me, a Saiyan, bleed. The furious Brawly roared loudly at Yi Yu in the sky. The next moment, the angry Brawly's eyes turned white, and the energy in his body suddenly expanded several times again. The figure of the demonic ape behind him was also revealed more clearly, and Brawly's body skyrocketed to a height of 3 meters. The power of the giant ape was directly activated to the limit, and Brawly even opened the teeth in his mouth a lot. This is the Saiyan form after Brawly's giant ape power reaches its peak. Roar. With a roar, all the previous injuries on Brawly's body disappeared. The powerful fist directly impacted Yi Yu and rushed over. Feeling the terrifying fighting will brought by Brawly, Yi Yu condensed Conqueror's spear again. The previous Conqueror's spear was just a momentary form, directly transformed into Conqueror's shield. Along with the ability of the Phoenix Fruit, Yi Yu's Conqueror's shield creates a feeling of endless life. Roar. As Brawly's physical condition increased, Brawly had completely lost his mind at this time. Facing Yi Yu's Conqueror's shield, he didn't even think about it and just attacked it. Simply relying on my fists, I want to smash the Conqueror's shield in front of me. So this scene happened. Brawly jumped directly on the Conqueror's shield, raised his fist towards the Conqueror's shield, and blasted it hard. People in the pirate world were shocked when they saw Brawly in this state. But they soon regained their composure. Marco looked at his abilities and spoke first. Don't worry, the Phoenix's regeneration ability is endless. There is no way this Brawly can break the Conqueror's shield, Marco said excitedly. Whitebeard also nodded. Yi Yu's Conqueror's shield was mixed with the ability of the Phoenix, and he knew this very well. As for the ability of the Phoenix, he is also very clear about it. Even Marco can resist the attack of the general when he uses it, not to mention Yi Yu himself using it, and it also cooperates with Yi Yu's endless Conqueror's domineering power. It seems that Brawly, although his strength has become stronger than before, his sanity has been greatly reduced. To choose to rely on one's own brute strength to break through Yi Yu's Conqueror's shield is simply a fool's errand. Whitebeard said mockingly to Brawly. The golden lion on the side rarely showed a solemn expression. That's not right, Whitebeard, you see, something is wrong. The cigarette from Golden Lion's mouth fell directly and he said loudly to Whitebeard. After hearing the Golden Lion's words, Whitebeard also looked up directly at the sky. Then, I saw a shocking scene. Above the entire sky, Brawly's fists were as dense as a rainstorm, punch after punch hitting Yi Yu's Conqueror's shield. Pieces of Conqueror's fragments kept falling from the sky, but they recovered quickly. Brawly looked at the Conqueror's shield in front of him, and it continued to appear after disappearing. The angry Brawly hit his chest hard, and then bombarded the Conqueror's shield in front of him again. This time, Brawly looked even more crazy. His fists were filled with various kinds of energy, and he punched Yi Yu's Conqueror's shield one punch after another. Each punch contained a large number of Conqueror's fragments, which were knocked out by Brawly. In the world of One Punch Man, the heroes of the Hero Association saw this scene, and their eyes widened one by one. The beast, that Brawly, doesn't look like a human at all. That guy's physical fitness is really too strong. You actually think about using your own body to resist Yi Yu's attack. It's so crazy. Although they all said that Brawly had lost his mind, it was obvious that Brawly's power was extremely powerful. Looking at Brawly in the picture, that punch was powerful and heavy, and it contained a terrifying aura. A trace of fear arose in everyone's heart. Looking at it like this guy named Brawly could really break Yi Yu's Conqueror's shield. Everyone was sweating for Yi Yu. When people in the Hokage world saw this scene, they all opened their mouths wide. The main thing is that Brawly's movements at this time are really like a ferocious beast. He doesn't know how to adapt during the battle, and he competes with the Conqueror's shield released by Yi Yu. This guy, doesn't look like a human being at all. Uzumaki Naruto said in horror. And the 9 tails in Uzumaki Naruto also spoke. Naruto, I have never seen such a terrifying human being before. He is not human at all. He makes me feel just like me before. 9 tails said seriously with a serious look on his face. The previous 9 tails. Uzumaki Naruto fell into thinking. The eyes of the previous 9 tails were very cold. There was only killing in the eyes and no other thoughts. It was really like the previous 9 tails. Then Brawly is really not a human anymore. Shikamaru also looked shocked. That guy, do you want to smash the shield in the sky? What a scary guy. People like Sage of Six Paths and Uchiha Madara who have fought against Yi Yu know very well how terrifying Yi Yu's conquerors are. And this Brawly, every punch actually shook Yi Yu's conqueror's shield, which made them feel very incredible. It's just a physical body, but it can resist conquerors. On the battlefield, Brawly's fists continued to increase, and finally he blasted away Yi Yu's conqueror's shield with one punch. However, under the influence of the Phoenix Fruit's ability, Conqueror's shield completed its healing again. Yi Yu, who was in the sky, was dazzled for a moment. Brawly felt like a demon ape. Roar. Brawly roared loudly. The next moment, the speed of punching on the body increased several times again, and the clothes on the arms were shattered on the spot directly because of the powerful punching force. As for Brawly, his punching speed actually exceeds the speed of light, and really exceeds the healing speed of Yi Yu's Conqueror's shield. The moment he shattered the Conqueror's shield attack, Brawly directly activated his energy and struck hard at Yi Yu in the sky. Yi Yu, who was above the sky, also widened his eyes. Since he traveled through time, this is the first guy Yi Yu has seen that he can't understand. No wonder. Brawly, this guy, can kill all kings, and even shatter the pendulum of time and space because his energy is so powerful. Brawly, this guy, was born to fight. I have experienced the evaluation of Brawly in Dragon Ball. This scary guy can actually pass through my Conqueror's shield. You really are a beast. Yi Yu gave Brawly the highest evaluation among all his opponents since he traveled through time. But at this time, Brawly didn't even say anything, he was still roaring and punching Yi Yu hard. Seeing the battle scenes on the screen, people in the world of One Punch Man were completely shocked. The trembling Tatsumaki's body trembled unconsciously. Brawly, could it be said that he is more powerful than Yi Yu? Tatsumaki said in shock. Bangu, Atomic Warrior, Child Emperor, and Metal Knight on the side all opened their mouths. Look at this, Brawly's physical strength far exceeds our imagination. Could it be said that the final winner of this world war is really this Warcraft Brawly? People around him sighed with emotion. And Genos looked solemn. Is his teacher still on that artificial planet? Are you sure you won't be killed directly? Genos begins to worry about the safety of One Punch Man Saitama. In the Hokage world, everyone also opened their mouths. As expected, Brawly is so physically strong. Kurama, this guy is a beast. Uzumaki Naruto shouted. As for Uchiha Madara, Sage of Six Paths, those who had fought with Yi Yu before, all of them had dull eyes. They really couldn't imagine that Yi Yu's immortal conquerors could be broken through by Brawly. In the pirate world, Whitebeard, Marco, and Golden Lion all held their breaths and clenched their fists tightly. This guy named Brawly actually broke Yi Yu's immortal conquerors. Isn't it terrifying? How is this possible? Marco said in disbelief. My Phoenix ability can withstand attacks from enemies that are one level higher than myself. Unexpectedly, Yi Yu's conquerors would be directly broken by Brawly with his strong physical fitness. As for Marine, Garp and Sengoku both have serious eyes, but they still know Yi Yu's strength in their hearts. The Conqueror's Conqueror move used by Yi Yu at the beginning caused IM to suffer a lot. He didn't expect that it would lose its effect when facing Brawly. Kaido and Charlotte Linlin also opened their mouths one by one. They couldn't believe the scene in front of them, but now they felt their own insignificance and there was no way to help Yi Yu. Now they can only silently hope that Yi Yu can win the final victory. Yi Yu, you must win. On the battlefield, One Punch Man Saitama gradually climbed out of the ruins. The impact of Conqueror's fragments in the aftermath just now knocked me unconscious, which really made me feel a little embarrassed. Fortunately, I don't know whether it's because of the environment here or something else, but the strength that I have never been able to break through in the world of One Punch Man actually achieved a breakthrough again in this coma. I once again broke through my own limiter. Now, I can have some fun with Yi Yu and the barbarian named Brawly. Saitama is very confident in his current strength and is ready to avenge his past humiliation. But when he raised his head and saw everything in front of him, his face turned black again and he fell into a sluggish state. Are you sure you're not kidding me? The strength of these two people is actually so terrifying. I saw that the entire sky was filled with fragments of conquerors that Brawly had broken before. They filled the entire sky and smashed down heavily on him. Saitama hurriedly put on a defensive posture. If it were his previous self, he would definitely be knocked unconscious by such a terrifying force. Now I won't be knocked unconscious so easily, but with my own strength, it is absolutely impossible to interfere in the battle between Yi Yu and Brawly. This made Saitama feel very aggrieved. He was a dignified one-punch man from another world, but he was so aggrieved in the duel field. I feel so angry just thinking about it, but I can't do anything about it. The two guys in front of me are so powerful. Chapter 248 New Trick, Conqueror's Clone. On the battlefield, Brawly, who was in Super Saiyan state with full combat power, rushed towards Yi Yu's Conqueror's shield in a blink of an eye before Conqueror's shield was synthesized when it was shattered. Yi Yu's direction. The fist in his hand was raised high, and he punched Yi Yu. This punch condensed the energy of heaven and earth. It could be seen that even Brawly's fist was emitting lightning power and explosive power. Extraordinarily powerful. The people watching the battle around were all solemn to the extreme. In this situation where Yi Yu's Conqueror's defensive shield disappeared, Brawly's fist hit Yi Yu's body at close range. In this state, wasn't Yi Yu going to die? Not even Conqueror's shield can resist Yi Yu's fists, let alone Yi Yu's own Conqueror's armor. The people around were worried to the extreme. Boom. The next moment, Yi Yu released Conqueror's field and teleported out. However, Brawly's aura completely captured Yi Yu's aura. The moment Yi Yu moved, the strange Brawly also moved at the same moment. Past. Yi Yu simply cooed softly. Brawly actually arrived at the same time as me, which is theoretically impossible. No matter how fast Brawly was, he should have followed Yi Yu to the destination. However, Brawly's speed arrived at the same time as himself, which made Yi Yu have to start thinking. After just thinking for a moment, Yi Yu thought of the reason. The ultimate freedom of purpose. Yi Yu's heart flashed as he thought of the reason why Brawly could arrive at the same time as him. Could it be that this guy Brawly learned the ultimate intention kung fu from Kakarot? But in just a moment, Yi Yu gave up this idea. What the ultimate intention kung fu needs is the user's mind like Shisui. Brawly is already in a completely crazy state, so how can he use the ultimate intention kung fu? However, it is clear that Brawly, this guy, must have used something similar to the ultimate intention kung fu in this crazy state. One is a sober state, and the other is a state of extreme madness. Both states can achieve the results of the ultimate state of freedom, which is quite interesting to think about. Roar. Without giving Yi Yu too much time to think, the next moment, Brawly had already rushed in front of Yi Yu. Boom. A terrifying and explosive punch hit Yi Yu's body hard, and the Conqueror's armor was instantly shattered. With terrifying force, the punch directly penetrated Yi Yu's Conqueror's armor. Pieces of Conqueror's armor fragments kept falling from the sky. In the end, all these Conqueror's fragments fell into the ground. The Conqueror's condensed amount of these Conqueror's fragments was even more powerful than Yi Yu's Conqueror's shield, and the defense was even more powerful. A fragment of Conqueror's armor hit One Punch Man Saitama directly. With a bang, violent vibrations directly occurred throughout Saitama's body. The powerful explosive force was directly beside Saitama, and the explosion created a huge crater with a depth of 100,000 meters. Saitama was also affected by this. When he came back to his senses, he found that his arm was bleeding and injured. After Saitama saw it, he was instantly confused. This destructive power is so terrifying. Just such a small fragment of Conquerors can actually hurt himself. He looked at Yi Yu and Brawly in the sky with a shocked look. Looking around, the entire artificial planet is full of holes. It is very scary, like purgatory. Just when Saitama was still sighing at how powerful the two people were in fighting, an even more terrifying scene appeared on the battlefield. On the battlefield, Brawly's fist directly penetrated Yi Yu's heart at this moment. Saitama's eyes widened and his lips trembled. FK, can't you? That guy Brawly actually defeated Yoroi. As Brawly's physical strength so terrifying. One Punch Man Saitama murmured. At this time, the Pirate World group who were watching the battle were completely shocked. How is this possible? Yi Yu, actually failed. Whitebeard Edward Newgate said incredulously. The golden lion Shiki on the side has the same excited expression as the white-bearded Edward Newgate. Yi Yu, such a powerful Yi Yu could fail. How is this possible? Golden Lion said in disbelief. Mahawk on the side held his sword tightly with trembling fingers. Mahawk, who had always regarded Yi Yu as his idol, found it hard to accept that Yi Yu would be defeated by a barbarian. Marco shouted Yi Yu's name loudly, hoping that Yi Yu could stand up. The entire Whitebeard Pirates group had a very solemn atmosphere. Even the Marines were dejected. Sengoku and Garp looked at each other, and they saw the incredible look in each other's eyes. Yi Yu, in the pirate world, when was there not a time when everyone thought he was going to die, and then instantly slapped everyone in the face and defeated all his enemies? However, now Yi Yu was penetrated by a barbarian in front of everyone. For a while, Sengoku and Garp found it difficult to accept it. Even Kizaru, who had always been relatively lazy, had a yellow light flashing from his sunglasses. That boy Yi Yu actually failed. How is this possible? Kaido and Charlotte Linlin looked at the sky and fell into thought. Impossible, I have seen Yi Yu's moves before. That kid must have his own trump card. He can't be easily defeated by such a barbarian. Kaido of the 100 Beasts roared loudly. He once fought with Yi Yu. Kaido, the beast that Yu has fought against, still has some confidence in Yi Yu. In the Hokage world, everyone's expressions are extremely exaggerated. Kakashi frowned, never expecting that the final winner would still be the intruder, Brawly. If that guy wins the final victory, we still have to make our final resistance. Kakashi said very solemnly, and at the same time he directly opened his blood chakra eyes and began to analyze Brawly's condition, thinking that when Brawly invades and kills them, they will resist together. I think that guy doesn't know space ninjutsu. He just uses brute force, but we can find a way to send this guy a letter. Shikamaru also said thoughtfully. Uzumaki Naruto nodded heavily. No matter how powerful this guy is, I will not let him invade us. This is my creed, Uzumaki Naruto said seriously. Madara of the Uchiha clan widened her eyes at this time. Yi Yu had killed him instantly. She really didn't expect that such a terrifying Yi Yu would fall behind when facing a barbarian. Sage of Six Paths had a solemn look on his face. He was thinking the same thing as Kakashi. He was thinking about whether he could use some group of sealing techniques to seal such a terrifying guy. The heroes in the world of One Punch Man are all completely messed up. They are not as calm as the world of One Punch Man or the world of Hokage. What should we do? That guy is a monster beyond the god level. If he really invades us, how can we defeat him? The trembling Tatsumaki no longer had the pride of the past. Looking at the scene in front of him, all he felt was deep fear. The child emperor looked solemn even more. According to the predictions of my computer, if this Brawly barbarian invades our One Punch Man world, we won't be able to resist at all. It only takes 1 second, and that Brawly will be able to directly destroy our world. Planet, Child Emperor said with a frown. After hearing this sentence, the people around were completely dumbfounded. This Child Emperor really couldn't open or lift any pot. On the battlefield, Brawly laughed loudly after impacting Yi Yu's body. You're going to die now. Yi Yu. Brawly's roar resounded throughout the world, causing those watching the battle to look in horror. But at this time, a strange scene occurred. The previous Yi Yu actually transformed into Conqueror's wax figure, and Brawly's arm was directly stuck inside the wax figure. A strange expression suddenly appeared on Brawly's face. He wanted to pull out his arm, but strangely found that no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't pull the wax figure away. His fist had already sunk deeply into it. They were still nervous just now, thinking about how they would face Brawly's people after Yi Yu failed. After seeing the scene in front of them, they all rekindled their hopes again. In the world of One Punch Man, the trembling Tatsumaki stopped trembling and looked at the sky with dull eyes. Yi Yu, isn't that guy Yi Yu dead? The trembling Tatsumaki rekindled hope. In the previous battle with Yi Yu, that guy Yi Yu had all kinds of tricks. Looking at it now, if so, Yi Yu's previous penetration was most likely an illusion made by Yi Yu himself. Yi Yu, you damn guy. The trembling Tatsumaki said coquettishly. This guy just pretended to be dead, but he scared himself to death. Yi Yu didn't expect that this guy would actually hide this trick. The other people also breathed a sigh of relief. It was true that as the Child Emperor said, Brawly could destroy their entire planet by himself. They don't even have any room to resist. The weirdos in the Weirdos Association also breathed a sigh of relief. Daching looked at the scene in the sky and showed a surprised expression. I really didn't expect that this guy named Yi Yu would be so powerful. What kind of ability is this? It can actually turn one's body into a wax statue. Dachi commented. No matter what it is, we have finally avoided this difficulty for the time being. Black Sperm said. In the Boros pirate ship in the sky, Boros and his subordinates also breathed a sigh of relief. I came to this world just to meet a powerful opponent. It would be very uneconomical to risk my life for no reason. And Boros has made up his mind that he will not look for any strong men again. It was only because of him that he realized how weak and insignificant he was. He was looking for strong people before because he was too arrogant. Boros has decided that he will practice hard in the future. If he doesn't break through 2 or 3 limiters, he will be embarrassed to say that he is strong. In the Hokage world, Tsuchikage Onoki looked at Yi Yu's move and his eyes widened. He spoke to the other Kage in shock. This move, isn't it Deidara's move? How can this boy Yoyu know ninjutsu? Onoki said in surprise. I originally thought that Yi Yu was just a master who was good at using chi, but I didn't expect that Yi Yu actually knew how to separate himself. Shikamaru's eyes widened. I really didn't think about it. If Yi Yu knew the art of splitting, then this battle would be much easier. Shikamaru said in shock. Against a barbarian who doesn't know ninjutsu, no matter how powerful the barbarian is, it's impossible to defeat a ninja who knows ninjutsu. Perhaps, with the help of this move, Yi Yu can really make a comeback. On the battlefield, Brawly couldn't pull his arm out at all, but at this time, Yi Yu's Conqueror's domineering clone was directly shining with light from within. All kinds of weird energies are mixed together, including the power of thunder and lightning, the power of flash, the power of freezing. Various forces are directly mixed together, and the destructive power produced is even more powerful. Just in an instant, the power of the mixture directly exploded, and the terrifying explosive power filled the air. Brawly's eyes widened as the terrifying explosive force rushed towards him. A close explosion, the sound resounded throughout the world, with terrifying power. Although it was only an explosion in the air, the terrifying explosion force formed a huge hole on the ground. This crater directly reached tens of thousands of meters in scope. Suddenly, the entire artificial planet was filled with explosion smoke. The smoke rose directly into the sky and filled the entire planet. Brawly wailed in pain. One of his arms was dropped directly by the explosion, and other parts of his body also suffered various injuries, but this was not over. Suddenly, the entire planet was filled with all kinds of strange forces, and these forces mixed together to become the power of chaos. Yi Yu even used his conquerors to create thousands of clones, and each clone was filled with this terrifying power of chaos. Chapter 249 Multiple Clone Conquerors Bombing. The people watching opened their mouths one by one. Especially people in the Hokage world were even more shocked when they saw the clone above their heads. Uzumaki Naruto looked confused and his lips kept trembling. Isn't this my multiple shadow clone? This Yi Yu can actually use multiple shadow clone. Uzumaki Naruto said in surprise. Multiple shadow clone is a forbidden technique in the ninja world. No matter how powerful Yi Yu is, he is from another world after all. He can use multiple shadow clone from the Hokage world. Naturally, Naruto is very shocked. This thing may not be ninjutsu. It must be something that Yi Yu forcibly created through his own conquerors. You must know that Yi Yu can create attacks like the palm of Tathagata and transform everything in the world with just a few moves. So, it's normal for Yi Yu to be able to transform into something similar to our shadow clone. Naruto's teacher Kakashi murmured at the side. So that's what it's like. The nervous Naruto said slowly. But, Mr. Kakashi, I think Yi Yu will definitely win this battle. Uzumaki Naruto said loudly. Yeah, that's right. Kakashi nodded heavily. The energy of those shadow clone is very powerful. One of them can injure Brawly. And these thousands of shadow clone, I believe are enough to kill Brawly. Kakashi said very confidently, hiding for Yi Yu. I felt very excited about this move. Even strong men such as Uchiha Madara and Sage of Six Paths looked sideways. People in the pirate world were even more excited. Ha ha ha, I knew that this guy Yi Yu must have his own trump card. Marco said excitedly. I really didn't expect this to be Yi Yu's new conqueror's skill. It's really powerful. Whitebeard Edward Newgate looked at the various clones in the sky with a shocked expression on his face. The golden lion also looked at the sky. Although he was not in the arena, he could feel the terrifying oppression brought by Yi Yu to him. Above the whole sky, any clone, golden lion can feel that they can blow up their own world and turn people upside down. Mihawk's eyes sparkled with stars. He was extremely excited when he saw Yi Yu's move. He fell into deep thought, wondering if he could learn some sword skills from this terrifying conqueror's skill. As expected of Mr. Yi Yu, he can be so terrifying. I admire him, Mihawk said excitedly. And Heavenly Yaksha Doflamingo also looked excited. Phew, fufu, fufu. Yi Yu, you can imagine such a terrifying attack method. Just kill this blind Brawly in one breath. Heavenly Yaksha Doflamingo said with a laugh. Empress Hancock even made a contemptuous gesture toward the sky. No one can be Mr. Yi Yu's opponent, he is just a barbarian. Come on, Mr. Yi Yu. Empress Hancock said excitedly. Each of the Marines looked shocked. The Yi Yu devil who had shocked them time and time again in the battle appeared again. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. After receiving Yi Yu's order, these clones rushed towards Brawly one by one as if they were crazy. People in the Hokage world saw this scene very clearly. It was very similar to Deidara's ninjutsu. It's just that the explosive power of Yoyu's ninjutsu was much stronger than Deidara's. This time, Yi Yu is really going to get an upgrade. Brawly saw the clone bombs hitting him all over the sky, and directly used his giant ape power to subconsciously block them. However, Yi Yu's bombs were too dense. Even if Brawly wanted to block them, they were still blocked by everyone. Various Conqueror's clone bombs gathered on Brawly's body. In just a moment, these Conqueror's clones all began to explode. In an instant, terrifying air waves began to explode around Brawly's body. The terrifying explosion force directly caused Brawly's body to distort. As for the people watching the battle, although they could not see Brawly's body at this time, they could clearly sense the changes in the entire artificial planet. I saw that the entire planet was paralyzed by the indiscriminate bombing of Yi Yu Conqueror's clone. The entire planet was now riddled with holes, and no decent person could be found. Even because the explosive power of Yi Yu's Conqueror's clone was so terrifying, the entire artificial planet actually deviated from its previous trajectory. After the explosion ended, the entire planet was filled with various sulfuric acid gases, and various harmful substances drifted in the air. Yi Yu has Conqueror's armor, so he retains part of the fresh air for breathing by himself. The entire crowd watching the battle held their breaths one by one. Even the artificial planet used to restrict Brawly was blown up by Yi Yu into this state. Is that guy Brawly dead? In the One Punch Man world, Fubuki collapsed directly to the ground, and her lips began to tremble. What a terrifying attack. If these attacks exploded in our world, I'm afraid the aftermath alone could destroy us all, right? All this should be over, right? Fubuki said in horror. The trembling tornado also descended directly from the sky to the ground. Such a terrifying attack. If Brawly the barbarian can't be killed, I'm afraid there won't be anyone in this world who can be Brawly's opponent. Bangu, Atomic Warrior, King and others on the side were all watching the game attentively. But Bangu noticed that King had a calm look on his face at this time, so he walked over and patted King on the shoulder. In such a big scene of a terrifying attack, you are able to remain motionless. It seems that your strength is not simple. Bang Ji-yu said to the king with admiration. Bang Ji-yu was still very curious about King, a guy who had never seen him take action but was called the strongest man on land. But the king was very confused in his heart. From the beginning to the present of this battle, because Yi Yu and Brawly were so fast, he had never seen the two of them. Therefore, although King knew that this protracted war was terrible, he couldn't understand it because he was too insignificant. Who knew that Bang Ji-yu, a martial arts master of the generation, would think that he was as immovable as a mountain? The helpless king could only smile. The level of this battle is still very high. King directly evaluated this battle in the way of a judge, invisibly pretending to be a big competition. In the world of Hokage, the terrorist attacks around Yi also shocked everyone. It's really unimaginable that humans in the world of pirates around the world, who seem to be careless and weak like little devils, can actually have such huge power in their bodies. According to the artificial planet where Yi Yu lives, one of Yi Yu's clones, Conqueror's bomb, is equivalent to the power of 100,000 Deidara's self-explosion. Men like Naruto Uzumaki felt that his legs were weak. He looked blankly at the teacher beside him, Hitaki Kakashi. Kakashi-sensei, such a terrifying guy, I'm afraid it's impossible to seal him even with the power of the seal. Uzumaki Naruto looked excited. Naruto was right. Thinking about it now, people in the Hokage world used to think about using the power of the seal to defeat a strong man like Yohane Brawly. It was simply a fantasy. The faces of people in the pirate world were even more excited at this time, and Marco looked excited. What a terrifying move. The energy of this move is so powerful. I don't think anyone can avoid it. Yi Yu did it beautifully. Marco clapped his hands and praised. Diamond Josie, Foil Beasta, Fire Fist Ace and others also looked at the sky, lost in thought. That's right Yi Yu, that's how it is. Regardless of the bullshit Slayer and the bullshit Brawly, they are all so vulnerable in front of you. White-bearded Edward Newgate, Golden Lion Shiki and others also looked excited. Yi Yu's growth was really beyond their expectations. No matter how much he thought about it, Yi Yu could still make such progress after defeating IM. Now Yi Yu has completely left the people in their pirate world far behind. Eagle Eyes Mihawk's eyes are as sharp as an eagle, always staring at Yi Yu in the sky. Mr. Yi Yu, the shock you gave me is too strong. I didn't expect that you could calmly defeat the killer who almost rules the entire world. You are truly a role model for me, Mihawk said excitedly. Empress Hancock even showed a nymphomaniac expression directly to Yi Yu in the picture. No matter what time of day, Mr. Yi Zhou, you are always so charming. Empress Hancock said excitedly. Kaido of the 100 Beasts, Charlotte Linlin also opened her mouth wide, showing an excited look. Great, great, Kaido, we should be rescued this time. Charlotte Linlin looked excited. Ha ha ha, I knew Yi Yu would never lose to a barbarian. Kaido of the Beasts looked excited. Yi Yu, the shock it brought to me was too much. As for Marine, everyone was extremely shocked when they saw Yi Yu's terrifying attack. The two Garp and Warring States men looked at each other, and they could see deep shock in each other's eyes. Yi Yu, this devil, is indeed so terrifying. Even Brawly is no match for Yi Yu, Sengoku said in shock. The revolutionary army located in the Holy Land Marijoya, this group saw the scene in the sky, and each one of them was even more shocked. Yi Yu is simply too scary. The Demon King widened his eyes and said with a serious face. Revolutionary Long looked at the scene in the sky, his eyes became more serious. As expected of Yi Yu, no one in this world can resist an attack of this level. If an attack of this scale happened in our pirate world, the aftermath alone would probably destroy us. Sabo looked even more excited. The people in the entire revolutionary army looked at the sky and fell into shock for a long time. However, Yi Yu's face looked a little surprised at this time. That was because he could clearly feel that Brawly's aura had become more terrifying than before. Roar. With a roar, Brawly's hair color turned red on the outside and black on the inside, his golden aura turned purple, and his body was filled with primitive power. The next moment, Brawly's figure gradually appeared, his eyes becoming even more cold-blooded. If Brawly before made me feel like a primitive man who only knew how to destroy, now Brawly feels like an emotionless killing weapon. This is Super Saiyan God, Yi Yu said with slightly trembling lips. However, as soon as Yi Yu finished speaking, Brawly's body swelled again. The muscles on his body protruded exaggeratedly and grew several feet tall. The tail on his butt was even several hundred meters taller. Distance. Brawly directly transformed into a demon ape with a height of more than 10 feet. Yi Yu's eyes widened. If he remembered correctly, this should be the Super Saiyan demon that is said in the Dragon Ball world to only appear once in 1,000 years. Every time it appears, it will bring great disaster to the entire universe. No wonder Brawly defeated all the kings. It turns out that this guy actually evolved into this in that world. Roar. A roar. The entire planet instantly blew up with strong winds filled with flames, and everything it went was burned. There was a sea of fire everywhere on the entire planet. The already dilapidated planet is showing signs of destruction this time. The crowd who had been watching the battle before heard this roar were completely horrified this time. The tornado in the world of One Punch Man just screamed. Is this guy a weirdo? He can be so terrifying. Bang Ji Yu looked shocked, and slowly spoke to the picture in the sky. To be able to do this, I think we can no longer describe him as a weirdo. I think this guy can't be called a human at all. He is born to be a devil. Cold sweat broke out on Bangu's forehead. I have a terrible premonition that this demon ape will definitely be able to defeat Yi Yu and bring disaster to the entire world. The baseball man's previous enthusiasm also completely disappeared. After seeing such a terrifying scene, only a feeling of panic remained in his heart. Now, we are doomed. Even if we can use the entire One Punch Man world, or even unite people from other worlds, we still can't defeat this guy. The baseball man said in horror. As for ordinary heroes like Fubuki and others, they were already frightened to death. Just this roar can spit out so much fire power, this can definitely be called a monster. Chapter 250 Shock, Super Saiyan Demon. Secure Asset Portal, your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. People in the Hokage world were very frightened when they saw the scene in front of them. Even Uchiha Sasuke frowned. This Brawly is not a human being at all, he has no weaknesses at all. Uchiha Sasuke said with his blood eye flashing. Uzumaki Naruto opened his mouth even more when he saw the scene in front of him. This beast is hundreds of thousands of times more powerful than 10 tails. A terrifying creature that came out of nowhere. Uzumaki Naruto looked confused and looked at the sky. The beast that was breathing out the breath of fire murmured. Kakashi on the side murmured. Idiot, that monster is Brawly's true identity. Hatake Kakashi murmured. After Uzumaki Naruto heard this, he was even more shocked. Kakashi-sensei, that could be Brawly. Is this guy a devil? Uzumaki Naruto shouted. As for Sage of Six Paths and Uchiha Madara, both of them looked very shocked. They never thought that after Brawly was hit by such a terrifying trick from Yi Yu, he could still stand up in the end. And it also turned into such a terrifying appearance. This catastrophe for the entire world is probably coming. Uchiha Madara shook his head and said with a wry smile. Sage of Six Paths also looked embarrassed. He knew better than anyone what this catastrophe meant to their Hokage world. No one can resist that monster. In the world of pirates, white-bearded Edward Newgate looked at this monster and his eyes widened. I really didn't expect that this is the real face of Brawly. Whitebeard Edward Newgate said in surprise. The golden lion Shiki also had a strange expression on his face. If this guy invades our pirate world, I'm afraid he can defeat us with just one breath. Golden Lion Shiki also had a worried look on his face. Mahawk looked at Yi Yu, his lips trembling. I wonder if Mr. Yi Yu can achieve the final victory this time. Mahawk said seriously. At this time, Empress Hancock, Heavenly Yaksha Doflamingo and others also looked at Yi Yu in the sky. Mr. Yi Yu, you must win the final victory. When the members of the Revolutionary Army of Holy Land Mariajoya saw this scene, their expressions were extremely shocked. What on earth is this? A strong man from another dimension. Is it so terrifying? The human demon king couldn't believe what he was seeing and said exaggeratedly. Sabo also lost his usual composure. Is this Brawley himself? It's too scary. Sabo kept swallowing his own saliva and spoke in horror. Revolutionary Long looked at the sky with very serious eyes. All we can do now is to hope for Yi Yu's final victory. On the battlefield, One Punch Man saw Atama, feeling the heat wave coming towards his face, covered his chest with his hands. Feeling the hot breath, Saitama showed a horrified expression. Just the breath coming out of his mouth is so terrifying. This guy Brawley is definitely not a human being. Saitama was extremely shocked. And Yi Yu also looked at Brawley. This guy, actually evolved into a Super Saiyan demon in the Dragon Ball world. No wonder this guy, can defeat the king of all. Yi Yu said in shock. The next moment, Yi Yu did not dare to be careless and directly gathered a Conqueror's spear in the air and charged at Brawley. The fearful Conqueror's spear drew an arc in the air, and the surrounding space was shaken with space cracks. Facing this blow that could destroy the world, the ape demon Brawley was not worried at all. His eyes actually emitted red light waves. This red light wave was the same as the Conqueror's released by Yi Yu. The spears collided, and in just a moment, there was a huge vibration between the whole world. The fragments of Conqueror's spear were instantly scattered all over the world, causing an explosion. Just a casual blow from Brawley's demon ape form easily diffused Yi Yu's Conqueror's spear. The next moment, gas continued to accumulate in Brawley's mouth. All I heard was a bang. A large amount of yellow gas was sprayed out from Brawley's mouth. Yi Yu widened his eyes. This yellow gas, through his Conqueror's field, could be clearly sensed, and it actually merged with his own shining fruit and Conqueror's. It was a feeling. This is difficult to handle. Yi Yu scratched his head. It was obvious that the Brawley in front of him not only possessed the tyrannical energy of destroying the world, but also possessed the powerful energy to destroy the world. What's horrifying is that Brawley still retains human skills and fighting instincts. The perfect combination of strength and skill is talking about a ferocious beast like Brawley. While Yi Yu was thinking about how to deal with the ferocious beast in front of him, Brawley gathered another air bomb. The next moment, this air bomb gradually split into a large number of small air bombs in the sky. These air bombs were like 8-foot magatama, blasting towards Yi Yu. Yi Yu's palm moved slightly, and Conqueror's shield was formed. However, Yi Yu's Conqueror's shield was blown to pieces when it received Brawley's first small air bomb. Various Conqueror's fragments exploded in the air, and for a moment, the entire sky was filled with dark clouds, like the end of the world. Before he could recover, the next moment, various air bombs were already attacking Yi Yu. Yi Yu frowned directly. He really didn't expect that Brawley's attack speed would be so fast after transforming into the demon ape form. The people around who were watching the battle were all surprised. Marco, who is part of the Whitebeard pirates, has a gloomy look on his face. Yi Yu's Conqueror's shield, such a powerful skill, was broken by just a face-to-face encounter. Marco said in shock. White-bearded Edward Newgate, Golden Lion Shiki, and everyone else also looked embarrassed. This Brawley has transformed into a monster. I wonder if Yi Yu can stop him this time. Whitebeard and Golden Lion Shiki said with solemn expressions. The next moment, just as these air bombs were about to reach Yi Yu directly released his Shinra Tianzhong. For a moment, all kinds of domineering energy directly attacked the surroundings. Brawley had previously the released air bomb exploded instantly on the spot. The entire sky was exploded and filled with the smell of sulfur. It seems, this Brawley, after transforming into a demon ape, adds a layer of corrosive effect to the attacks he releases, which makes it easier for him to restrain his Conqueror's recovery. Roar. But the next moment, the huge demon ape slapped his chest, stepped empty steps under his feet, and charged towards Yi Yu. Each step can create a powerful air wave in the air. These air waves directly impact the ground, forming a huge hole on the ground, just like a nuclear bomb explosion. Roar. In just a moment, the huge fist had already arrived in front of Yi Yu. It was so powerful that it caused strange phenomena in the world. Boom. One hit. It hit Yi Yu's Conqueror's armor, instantly creating a huge hole in Yi Yu's Conqueror's armor. However, Yi Yu's Conqueror's armor has been completely infused with the Phoenix Fruit ability and is recovering rapidly. With each strike, there was an earth-shattering sound, and the fragments of Yi Yu's Conquerors were blasted out of the ground. Every sound completely shocked the surrounding crowd. As soon as Yi Yu fell, this terrifying demon ape would begin to invade their world. With their strength, it is impossible to resist Brawley, the demon ape killer. With the last blow, the chaotic aura on the huge demon ape's body spread to the extreme. He clasped his hands together and hit Yi Yu hard. The Conqueror's field was opened, and Yi Yu could clearly feel that this blow was enough to destroy his Conqueror's armor. The entire crowd watching the battle showed nervous expressions. Sage of Six Paths, Own Samsara eye was opened to the extreme, and his expression became more solemn. Based on the previous strength, if Yi Yu is hit by this blow, Conqueror's armor will definitely be broken. Whitebeard Edward Newgate also looked worried. Shinra, Tianzhong. The next moment, Yi Yu gathered his own conquerors and directly released Shinra Tianzhong. With himself as the center, a large amount of Conqueror's domineering energy poured out in an instant. Like a nuclear bomb exploding. Boom. There was a violent explosion in the sky of the entire artificial planet. Brawley was directly hit by this terrifying Conquerors, and the expression on his face was condensed to the extreme. The demon ape was also directly repelled several thousand meters away by this terrifying Conquerors. The powerful Shinra celestial conquest, a large number of Conquerors fell from the sky, and the entire artificial planet began to tremble violently. Saitama, who was above the ground, was directly affected. He spit out a mouthful of old blood and looked at the sky with an embarrassed expression. Is this the difference in strength? I'm still too inferior. Saitama shook his head helplessly. After being hit at such a close range, the demon ape would also be injured, right? Saitama said thoughtfully. However, the next moment, the voice of the demon ape sounded, a roar, and a large amount of flames struck in all directions again. Black lines appeared directly on Saitama's face. This Brawley, in the form of a demon ape, can be so terrifying without being injured. Boom, the next moment, a huge tail struck Yi Yu heavily. All the surrounding auras were mobilized, and Yi Yu directly activated Conqueror's shield. However, under this brutal force, Yi Yu's Conqueror's shield was directly smashed into pieces, and the Saiyan corroding demonic energy attached to it, Conqueror's shield, which had been corroding Yi Yu, suddenly found it difficult to recover again. But the huge arrogant force was still drawn towards Yi Yu. Yi Yu frowned tightly, not expecting that this demonic ape could be so destructive. Under the absolute power, the entire space was distorted. For a moment, the entire universe was filled with gaps in the broken space. The entire sky was filled with extremely chaotic demonic winds. For a moment, the earth and sky seemed to have swapped roles. The broken pieces of Conquerors fell on the ground, forming huge craters one after another on the entire huge artificial planet. It is definitely a blow that can destroy the world. Just when this terrifying attack was about to hit Yi Yu's body, Yi Yu opened the Conqueror's field in an emergency. The next moment, the ape demon's attack was completely empty. The huge inertia force hit the sky directly. Fortunately, this move appeared in the sky, otherwise, if this move hit the planet, there is no doubt that the entire planet will be whipped to pieces. After the blow, a huge space-time gap appeared in the entire sky, which could not be healed for a long time. Yi Yu narrowed his eyes. This was the power of time and space chaos. Brawley must have turned on this state to defeat the pendulum of time and space. The power of time and space chaos is comparable to the power of the pendulum of time and space. If you are hit by a whip, even if you have the defense of Conqueror's shield and Conqueror's armor, part of your body will definitely be sucked into another time and space due to the power of time and space, thus producing the effect of Kakashi Kamui. If it were a pure Kakashi Kamui, he could completely dodge it with his Conqueror's field, but Brawley, a guy with top-notch physical fitness and awareness, wanted to dodge this space-time whipping, even better than Kamui who dodged Kakashi. I don't know how much harder it is. The people who were watching the battle had panic on their faces. They could see the horror of the gap in time and space. At this time, the space-time gap before the artificial planet has begun to swallow up the ruins in the air before the artificial planet. A large number of rocks, soil, sawdust and other things produced by the explosion are gradually being sucked into it. If things like the space-time gap continue to expand, then the demon ape will escape, and the dual field created before the time-space pendulum was destroyed will, by then, be a disaster for the entire extra-dimensional world. Suddenly, ordinary people in the One Punch Man world, the Hokage world, the Pirate world, and the final Valkyrie world were enveloped in a huge fear, and there was a burst of panic in their hearts. This time, people in the different dimensional world fell into panic, but they had nowhere to escape at this moment. The only thing they could do was to clasp their hands together and silently pray that Yi Yu could stop this demon.